It's Tingle and Co. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shane Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. They're trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. It's Tingle and Co. Word up. It's Tingle and Co. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. It's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shane Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat and shit out to them. They're trying to ball like Big Folk, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co.
All right, good morning and welcome in here on this Thursday morning. We are live here from our Southern Regional Medical Center studios. Shout out to the team here at SRMC as they house Tingle and Co. brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook brings you our show every single day. Go to the website, download the app. I'm opening it up now. The big, beautiful blue app is the FanDuel Sportsbook. No picks yesterday. Well, Mr. Fun did drop one in here to us. We did not put it out to the masses, and I believe it was a good call by us, right?
Yeah.
Because it did not cash.
Poor Mr. Fun. I don't know what place he's in right now, but he said
It's a dark one.
It's not a fun place.
20-unit play, and that shit was over by the fourth inning.
I
Mr.
specifically
Fun.
asked him, I said, listen, Jason, you've been struggling a little bit recently. We're on a rough patch.
Yep.
20-unit play. Do you really like this play that much to put 20 units on it, or are you chasing?
He lied to your face.
He lied to my face.
He lied to your face.
He lied to my face. He said, no, I really like the Braves.
Yep.
20-unit play.
No, Lloyd and I looked at each other the second he said 20-unit play because
Yeah.
it is a tale as old as time. That is a good old chase. It is.
Old Chasing Jason.
I'm trying to make it all back right now.
Yep.
What's funny is
Nothing really. This is bad. We're bad spot
it's
boys.
really
Digging
not
that
funny
hole.
at all.
I hope you
little
fucking enjoyed your lunches
Yeah.
because they're gone.
Yeah.
We have not gone.
I
to
had
lunch
Luke
yet.
I had my roommate place a parlay for Red Sox, so the fate of the Braves game.
course.
And then take Poggi's White Sox. The shit hit.
And then you look at me in front like, shit's easy.
You got nothing on us. So we'll see if we get some picks in today. I don't know if Mr.
We probably
Fun
should.
will it or
Is he
not.
gonna? I guess he has to work.
Yeah, this is the most important time to work.
Yeah.
He said payday's Friday, so he's got to get there.
Well, I know where it's going.
Yeah, I mean.
To the FanDuel Sportsbook app
That's
right here on
right.
your phone. Let's see, where's it at? The big, beautiful blue app. Look, do we have NBA basketball tonight?
Yes, sir.
We do. We have Thunder at Spurs, with the Spurs favored by 3.5 points. Thunder are plus money on the money line, and it's over under 219.5. With the opportunity for the Thunder to close it out here and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals in San Antonio tonight against the Spurs. Definitely be tuned into that. If you've got any picks for it, drop those in the chat. We'll let you know what we think about it, and maybe we'll have some picks later on this morning. Glimmer for Dead Morning Crew. Good morning, sir. Charlie Oliver. Morning, fellas. Robert Taylor.
boys.
Good morning, boys. Sabrion boys. And Chris Lomax. Let's go, fellas, from Covington, Tennessee. The 901 in the house. 901, how we doing? Good to see everybody. Good morning, everyone in the studio. Lloyd, Wyatt, Christian. How are we feeling, fellas?
Quick question.
Quick answer.
When do the finals start?
When do the finals start? Next
We
Wednesday.
said June 8th, huh?
3rd. I think next Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a week from yesterday.
Week from yesterday. You got something cooking in your brain over there?
I would be very surprised if the NBA decided to end the season before the finals. They said they need something to happen. I think they need to squeeze as much juice from this rock as they can.
They're going to send this thing to 7.
Yes.
I would agree, and I think that's why you see the Spurs favored by 3.5 points, and the Thunder plus money on the money line, which should never be the case.
Nope.
But it kind of gives you a feel.
What's Scott Foster up to?
Vegas is feeling a little bit like you're feeling, where it's the NBA would love for this game to go to this series to go to 7 games, because if not, it would be over tonight, and you'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's 5 days basketball-less. When instead you can get. They want this to go to 7 anyways. Get it back to OKC. You want the Wemby versus Chet versus Shea, the whole series. They want the drama with it, but they also want the TV numbers.
I mean, you're watching the Thunder turn into the villain,
right?
Yeah.
and the Spurs be the young, fun, up-and-coming
Right.
group that's like, if anybody's going to derail this dynasty, it's going to be, you need a
gonna be the
7-5
generational-
freak show
Right.
versus the flop fest.
And I do think a lot of people feel as if this is the finals.
Yeah.
Because and this is no discredit to the Knicks, because I do think the Knicks are a very good basketball team. They feel as if whoever wins this is going to win the whole thing and beat the Knicks next week. So
I think it'll be interesting to see how the finals play out with whoever wins this series, because when you look at the Knicks, they're already in the finals. They're not playing.
Right,
And
chilling and
NBA, similarly to like the MLB, when you're rested, you're a lot better of a team.
yeah,
So I think, it's like if I'm betting the finals next week, I'm probably taking Knicks game 1, but I can see it going like 5 at the most.
Yeah,
it's kinda
I
hard to
think
pick
everyone-
against the Thunder or the Spurs.
I think everyone feels similarly to you, that the Western Conference team is the favorite
Yeah.
going into the final, which it will be. But that this is kind of the final series. So they want this to go to 7 because this will be the most viewed series of them all, because this is the one everyone's been waiting for. So we'll be tuned in tonight. We'll see if we can get some picks out for you. Lloyd obviously hinting at a little something. It would be hard to pick against the Spurs with the way the NBA wants this to go. So, but I have a quick question for you, Lloyd Courtney.
Oh.
How's mic'd up last night?
Oh, a lot of breaking news kind of dripping out of the faucet.
That's what I was gonna-
As you saw, Scone had on some Get Gordon clients, which seemed to work for the baseball team. I don't know which one's which, what order that is, but I'm glad that somebody is stepping up and helping the baseball
Of
team.
course.
Which begs the question, how much is that actually a driving force into who comes back and who doesn't, and what can the LSU baseball
Very
team look
intriguing
like
question.
as you try and battle? It's you versus the draft for
Yeah.
some of your bigger prospects, I guess you could say. And there's some rule changes that seem like they're coming down the pipe also, that all of this plays a massive factor in what LSU baseball will do. But I guess you found out some news about the Curiel thing, that there's a reason people didn't talk about it, because you're not supposed to. Try to help a fella out. But obviously that gets confirmed. You get the Stanfield injury confirmed. All the things that if you just you could kind of see with your eyes. But it really was. And then you see Cooper Moore, obviously, talk about his injury. It's kind of just a perfect encapsulation of what the
the season
2026
was.
baseball season was. So we talked a lot about that, what they're going to do with terms of who's hitting the portal, who's not. But we are down in man at the moment.
Yep.
As Jay
Busy
Bitch has, if you love them, let them leave. See if they come back. He is calling the Alabama regional. And so
Tuscaloosa.
he is heading to Tuscaloosa. So it was just me and old Mikey chopping it up.
Well, there you go. Well, congratulations to Jay Mitch. Very excited to listen to him on the call this weekend. It's going to make me want to watch the Tuscaloosa regional
Absolutely.
to hear Jay Mitch on the call. That is the only draw. for
Good
me to
hire by
watch.
me.
Yeah, good call.
Thanks.
Good call, Lloyd. Yeah, you got an eye for talent.
Yep. I do.
Gatorade Player of the Year.
I wonder if Jared Mitchell will be any good at this. Oh, wait, he's better than all of us at
He's
it.
good at everything, actually. But yeah, no, there's quite the conversation around LSU baseball right now. Of course, the three names that it consistently floats around are Derek Curiel, Jake Brown, Stephen Milam, because those three obviously vital pieces, extremely talented pieces, and are debating currently. Now, like Lloyd said, some rules coming down the line. I would assume you're referring to the 5-for-5 rule, which would then create leverage for Milam and Brown after next season. Because most people would say it is not advised to come back for your senior year and lose that leverage. But there seems to be a lot of conversation around Brown and Milam and potentially doing that. And then, of course, Curiel, it would give him, 3 more years of leverage if it comes down the pipeline, which is unbelievable.
He'd be like a freshman all over again.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting conversation. We'll definitely dive into it this morning as we talk about some of the news.
Another name to look out for. We were just going through the roster yesterday. Because we were saying, who would you want to come back in a perfect world of if they didn't go to the draft, or who you're trying to keep out of Devin Sheeran?
Oh, 100%.
Redshirt sophomore.
He was one of the players to me that going into the season, I didn't know if he was going to play his draft stock up that much. But then as you were playing and you were watching him, and I was like, this might be a one-year thing.
Well, yeah,
Dev.
And I guess hindsight's 20/20, but he's one of those guys that if LSU did what they did last year and
Right.
went on a run through regional, super regional Omaha, it'd have been Chase Shores.
Yes.
Right.
Where it's like, who's this? What booger?
Right.
Like this guy? And it's like, hey, he throws a 98 every time.
And for his last performance to be what it was against Oklahoma, where he was just electricity on the mound and on the mic.
I love that too. When people hear the hot mics from college baseball, like,
Have some respect for the game.
my stars, I can't believe he talks
Why
like
are
that.
you doing that?
And college baseball.
Yeah, and he's
And
fired
it was
up.
a one-run game in the ninth. What do you think I'm talking about?
He's also pumping 99, 100 miles
If
per
I
hour
have
down
to
the
talk to
pipe.
myself a little crazy to get it up to 101, I might do that.
Yeah, I don't think the
Sit down, bitch.
the MLB draft scouts aren't listening to the microphone. They're looking at the freaking radar gun. Shout out to Devin Sheeran. So, obviously, the baseball offseason is officially underway. It'll definitely be something to keep an eye on as time goes on. But speaking of offseason, I do want to play this clip of the LSU quarterback as Sam Leavitt posted a little video on his Instagram story last night, or maybe it was this morning. I believe it was last night, as he's in the facility again. This is like the second time in the last 2 weeks he's posted a late-night video of him working the facility. Both have been entertaining. They haven't been like a workout video, but they have been entertaining. And this one was him, and because there's been a lot of conversation about his health, of course. That was the big question mark going into it. Lane Kiffin talked about it during SEC meetings when he was at the podium doing a press conference. He brought up Sam Leavitt's health, said that he reached 21 miles per hour the other day, and he will be cleared this summer as he is nearing 100%. Well, then Sam Leavitt posted this video on his Instagram story last night, and to me, looked pretty healthy. And the other piece of this whole discussion is this is the most important domino of this whole offseason into the regular season. We talked about it last week where with LSU football, LSU last year had the most amount of dead money, which is the most money spent on the sideline. And the team that didn't have that was Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin and his roster had the most money on the field, which is the goal now, right? In this new era of college athletics, your goal is to have the money you spent on the football field, right? Like that. It's the whole thing. You want the return on your investment. It only happens when they're on the field. And so when we were watching some of the spring scrimmages, it was, man, this quarterbacking looks rough in some of them. You know, there was the day that 5 interceptions were thrown by Longstreet and Clark, and it just looked a little rough. Now, they got better. But the biggest takeaway was there's a reason that $4, $5, $6 million, however much they spent on Leavitt, dollars is on the sideline right now, and it needs to be on the field. You need those millions to be on the football field. And so his health is obviously something to keep an eye on. In this video, he looks rather healthy. He says this is his touchdown celebration. Hey! Between the legs, through the goalposts. Obviously, this doesn't do anything for you from a football standpoint, but it looks good to see him healthy. Because obviously it was a foot injury, and he's now jumping up.
Between the legs.
Between the legs. So, look, it will be...
It's funny that no matter your age, really, we're all still just boys.
I want to dunk the ball through the goalpost.
Between the legs.
Yep.
And it's just funny. Just $6 million or no $1 million.
Because I'd be doing the same thing.
And I'd imagine they'd rather him not do it right now.
Right.
But it's like, no, I'm going to do it. And then get ready for the lob to Trades.
Oh, my gosh. Oh. They're going to recreate the LeBron, D-Wade, the Trades in the background. But it was good to see the LSU starting quarterback looking healthy because he is the most important piece of this whole puzzle. That is the most expensive player on your roster, and he needs to be on the football field. If he's not on the football field, you are in trouble because there's a reason you spent the money you spent. And obviously, with it being a foot injury, as you can see in some of these clips where he's moving, his feet are very important.
No.
Because he's very mobile.
Okay.
Get off.
Keep going.
And so it's good to see him healthy. Obviously, vitally important to the success of LSU football this season. There are so many expectations for LSU football this year. You heard Rohan Davey talk about it yesterday, a former LSU quarterback himself. And those expectations, number 10 is pretty important when it comes to those expectations, to have your $1 million quarterback on the field and not on the sideline. So good to see him getting healthy. Glad to see him continue to improve, and hopefully as the summer goes along, he can just get better and continue to ingratiate himself into the playbook and the whole deal. I will ask the room, 1 through 10, 1 meaning not concerned at all, 10 meaning extremely concerned. Where is your concern level now on LSU quarterback Sam Leavitt going into the football season?
I'd put it at a soft 6. I think seems like he's progressing pretty well, but also a Lisfranc injury like that is not something to mess around with. And just because of how vitally important he is and how much money would be on the sideline if he's not able to be 100%, I'd put it at a 6 just because he is so vitally important to this team. I don't know how high the expectations can be if he's not out there. So yeah,
obviously,
I'd go a 6.
Obviously, you can re-injure this, but is this one of those injuries where you can't it's likely that you re-injure it, or it's really in the realm of possibility? Because if it's a possibility, he can re-injure this, re-aggravate this even after the surgery and everything, my concern level's 6, 7, 8, right?
Yeah.
But if he can't, right, I'm more concerned about him actually being good. So I'd put it at more of a 2 or a 3. But that would just be my main point.
Yeah, it says re-injuring a fully healed Lisfranc injury is relatively rare.
Yeah.
The estimated re-rupture rate is under 5% via the National Institutes of Health.
I'll put my concern level at a 4. Because that was the main thing. If he's getting the surgery, that means this injury's finalized, right? We're not going to see this again. So if he's recovering well, he's going to be ready. He just needs to be good. He just needs to play football the way he knows how. So I put it at a 4.
Well, and there's also an element to this of even if he doesn't get injured again and just continues to get healthier and healthier and healthier, he missed all of spring.
Yeah.
So how does that affect the chemistry with the wide receivers? Does it take an extra game or two? Maybe you lose in Oxford against Ole Miss because they haven't built that chemistry yet, and then they're not able to scale like they would have earlier in the season until maybe week 7 or week 8. And by that point, you've already maybe got 2 losses because Sam Leavitt hasn't looked his healthiest because he hasn't built that chemistry, hasn't learned the offense like he maybe should have been. So that's really my concern is the time he's already missed, can he work back to make that a non-factor.
Yeah, I think just plays into the point of like just be good. Obviously he can't just be good if he doesn't have chemistry. But
because that means
the whole thing around it.
That shifts the concern from the injury standpoint and health to just football. Yeah. Right. That's what it shifts to. And I think Gage makes a good point in the chat because that's exactly where I was going to go. The one thing I take from that video of him jumping and the running thing is, as an athlete, Gage says in the chat, he says, an athlete knows his body, and if he's getting confident jumping and running, then LSU is going to be all right. An athlete knows their body better than any doctor, any coach, anybody else. The person who is injured or was injured knows themselves better than anything else. And the biggest leap to get over is the mental aspect of an injury like that, right? When you've been away from it, you have pressure, you don't want to hurt yourself again. The mental hurdle is, okay, well, maybe I don't overexert myself in this area, or maybe I don't jump, or I don't run, or you get kind of scared in a sense. And seeing that video, he obviously is feeling comfortable and confident in where his health is. And so I think the concern will be, from my standpoint, strictly football. From a health standpoint, there's always the concern with any player, especially one with this injury. But he will have such a advantage of the time he's had off, right? I think it's just going to come down to football. I mean, it was last November when he had the surgery, was it? Mm-hmm. Which would be, so you get to fall camp in August. That is 9 months removed from surgery. So, I mean, almost a year, and then it will be another month. So it's about 10 months to game one, which gives you your body the time. And if he's already at this point now mentally where he is, I expect that process to go smooth as ever. So it just comes down to football. And from a football standpoint, I liked Wyatt's point of what might take a second to get into the flow of things and understand the game plan and the offense. And I loved what I saw from him over the spring where he was invested in every single second, and Lane talked about it a lot. And then you're seeing him in the facility and working, right? Where the last week was throwing a touchdown to Jordan Seaton, which is all in good fun, but he's in the facility. And when you see those guys in the facility, it makes everybody else work harder. It's a leadership thing. But from a football standpoint, the biggest advantage that he has is, I think, early in those games, the pressure will be on other aspects of this football team to step up. If he does need a couple of games to get it right and get comfortable, well, then you need Blake Baker's defense to be Blake Baker's defense, right? You need those guys to ball out. You need your run game to step up and be an actual weapon. I mean, think how much different last season could have gone had you been competent running the football. Then there's not as much pressure on Garrett Nussmeier to sling it down the football field. And he's not having to take 5-step drops or trying to roll out and getting hit as much as he is because he's not having to throw the ball 40 times. If you could run the football, if your defense is the level that I think many expect it to be, and you're able to run the football as improved as you think it will be, there's a little bit of a grace period for Sam Leavitt to get in the flow of things. So then hopefully by the time you get to, I would say, game 4 against Texas A&M, they've got that thing rolling. And that's why I think it's interesting why you dropped it in the document. Via our friends over at FanDuel, LSU has opened up as a 2.5-point underdog to Ole Miss in Week 3 in Oxford. Lloyd, when you hear that, LSU being a 2.5-point dog to the Rebels, what's your reaction?
20-unit play. That's insane to me, but because there are some other lists that have come out of ranking, I guess, the best coaches in college football, and you see that's a very familiar list of names that you see, one of which was not on there is Pete Golding.
Right.
And instead it was just Lane Kiffin with the LSU logo next to him, so it goes to show what they think of the hire that LSU made. So, okay, I'll play this game with you.
Okay, let's play.
Neutral site, what's the spread?
LSU favored.
Mm-hmm.
By how much?
It should be LSU should be.
Because I do think because normally home field is a 3-point advantage. Normally that shifts the line. 3 points is home field, and I would say if I'm FanDuel, I wouldn't put it past FanDuel to say like 3 is the normal home field.
Right.
More.
Right.
Let's add a 1.5 to that because Ole Miss on September 19th is going to be a different style of college atmosphere. You know what I mean?
It's going to be a historic atmosphere. Ole Miss has never seen a game like that and will never see a game like that
Of course.
And they had a playoff game on their campus last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be unbelievable. And so I do think, 2.5 points says to me that they think this is an even game and they're giving Ole Miss the scratch for home field advantage. Because I think if it's a neutral site, LSU's favored by the same. Like, I think LSU is favored in this game. They are the better team. I think Vegas probably believes there's more things working against LSU than there are against Ole Miss, which I don't entirely disagree with from a bird's eye view perspective. If you just looked at social media and all the things, it would seem as if there's more things going against LSU, Lane Kiffin, than Pete Golding, Ole Miss. But it is interesting to see them open up as a 2.5 win underdog.
I mean, and I think a lot of it has to do with nobody's seen this LSU team play, and Ole Miss, there's a lot of familiarity over there. Mm-hmm. Like, they have the guys that are returning. You have your quarterback back, your running back. You have the pieces that people saw and are familiar with. It's not. I wouldn't say that they got raked over the coals by LSU in the portal the way that everybody kind of makes it seem to be.
Not
Would you
at
get
all.
2 players?
4.
3, 4?
I think it was Daughtery, Watkins, Harper, and Uman Mielen.
Right, and Uman Mielen was the big swing, but then it was going to be, and I think Pete Golding has talked about this a little bit without saying all of the quiet things out loud. Like, there's a real chance it's going to be Kwan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss, and that's what it would have been. Who, buddy, where are you going if you're Ole Miss? But because you get those 2 pieces back, and he was talking about tampering and how Dabo called him out, and he was saying, like, look, what we did in the transfer portal is what we did in the transfer portal. He goes, but y'all don't know what happened to us. And
right.
It's like, it was then, like, almost in response, like, you lost 4 players to Lane Kiffin. Are you still talking about that? Because if it would have been Chambliss and Kwan Lacey, then I would be talking about that.
Of course.
You took my whole team.
You took my guy.
Yeah, like that. That's why we were good.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
My wife.
That'll be nice. But
well, the craziest part, it's just a straight up admission of guilt.
oh yeah, it's
Like,
he's
getting on the
but I can tell you
microphone.
more things that happened that
Right.
like they killed more people.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Well, we're asking about you.
Yeah.
This is about the person you
I'll
killed.
worry about what I did. Yeah, I did it. Of course I killed them. I killed them all.
Do y'all not like that answer, though? Because, look, I'm not a Pete Golding fan by any means,
Right.
but I actually like that answer. Because in this landscape of college football, there's no fucking transparency. Everyone's
Right.
lying about shit, and you're not talking about the real reasons people do stuff. Pete Golding's basically saying, like, yeah, everyone's fucking tamper. He's saying the quiet part out loud. We all know that everyone tampers. So why is it a problem when Pete Golding does? I do kind of agree with Pete Golding here. Like, Dabo's being a fucking bitch. Everyone gets tampered with. You're not going to go to the NCAA. Like, there's no fucking rules. You're not going to do this. I don't mind that answer from Pete Golding.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I mean, I think it's to your point. I think it's transparent more than anything. Like, it's honest. Like,
Yeah.
you are telling me that I'm the bad guy for doing these things, and what I'm saying is everybody's doing it. So if you want to come at me for it, we can't, because we would be talking out of 2 sides of our mouth if we bashed that and applauded what Will Wade's doing, because I think it's eerily similar, where it's like, look, everybody's doing this, so if you're going to come down on me and be mad at me for it, I'm going to point elsewhere. You're going to see it everywhere. If you're going to say no international players, I think I saw like 24 out of the top 25 teams lose 2 starters if they get rid of all their net. Like, everyone is doing it. Mm-hmm. And so
How many would LSU lose?
Oh, their whole team. But so I do appreciate the transparency of the whole thing, because it's literally, like, that's the thing. It literally is, and it's an admission of guilt. But what he's saying is, look, yeah, I tampered.
Hey, Dabo, look around.
So is everybody else.
Dabo is the nerd of the party that shows up like, are they smoking cigarettes outside?
yeah.
It's
The
like,
craziest thing
Dabo, don't go upstairs then.
is it gives me more confidence for week 1.
Yeah.
It's like, is Dabo like a part of this college football era? It just doesn't feel like it.
That's why he can yell tampering, because he's not doing it.
Yeah.
And he's the only nerd at the party that's like, do you know that they do cocaine here? It's like, yeah, everybody's on cocaine right now, Dabo. Like, except for you. It's like, oh, well, I'll don't tell on me. It's like everybody's doing it except you're the only one at the party that doesn't know it's a party. And so he's going to just stand on that hill and die, because Dabo is the last of the old guard that he can claim, finally, Little Clemson. But, Dabo, that's your fault. Like, everybody is – you're not going to get some trophy for –
Right.
Oh, well, at least whenever they change the rules to the 5-for-5 or whatever Teddy Cruz wants to do and write up his own little bill.
Right.
And the big, beautiful bill. They are going to do something, and it's not like Dabo's going to get an award for, oh, you don't have to worry about any of these rule changes.
There's no
I've been
Walter
doing it.
Payton Man of the Year.
Yeah, like, what do you get, an extra draft pick? Like, you don't get anything. So you might as well have just get in the mud with all of us. But until then, he'll just scream, well, at least I did it the right way.
Yeah. The quote from Golding was, I'm not going to sit up here and say whatever we did or we didn't do, was it right or was it wrong? But, when you go through what we went through with tampering and what you're seeing day in and day out, some things you feel like shouldn't matter that they're making a big deal about. He continues on. He says, not comparing Farrelly to a guy who's been a starter somewhere that wasn't in the portal, that's at a new school after going to a semifinal. Like, what are we doing? That's the piece where everybody's at. There's an enforcement of Farrelly who just took in, but there's not an enforcement of Daugherty, who was here for 3 years, and he's been tampered with the entire time. What are we doing? I mean, essentially what he's saying is, look, if you're going to get mad at me for taking Farrelly from Clemson, why aren't you upset about LSU for taking Daugherty from Ole Miss? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be on the same page, because I'm not a Pete Golding fan, and I don't like Ole Miss, and I'm very glad TJ Daugherty's on LSU's roster, but that's the world you live in. Like, that's the thing where I do have to respect somewhat of what Pete Golding is doing, is he's just being transparent and honest about the state of affairs in college football. And what he's saying ultimately is, if you don't like what's happening, change it. Don't allow it to happen, because it's happening to everybody, because he's not wrong. That is the case. And look, and I also think Pete Golding, from an offseason perspective, has one of the easiest jobs in the world. Now, when the football aspect gets here, that's when it becomes a tough challenge. The right now aspect of it, coming off of the semifinal game, the way the national media is loving and respecting and applauding everything he's doing, he has a very, very easy offseason from a fanfare perspective. It's so easy for him to make himself look good, because he never really has to be the villain. Like, Dabo is trying to paint him and Ole Miss as the villain. And literally in Dabo's report, I mean, Austin Thomas, the general manager, says, hey, Pete's going to do what Pete's going to do, which is essentially an admission of guilt by the GM about the head coach. But Pete also understands he'll never be the true villain, because he can just point across the pond and go, if you're going to get mad at me, why don't you get mad at the real villain? Which he is, of course, it has been dubbed Lane Kiffin. And so Brandon Hollingworth is right. The situations are different. They are, as Daugherty's head coach left and he brought him over, and Golding had no relationship with Kiffin. But in the ultimate situation of the whole thing, it's all the same. That all of these things, if you just not getting into the minute details, these things are the same. I mean, why did Carius Kern and JT Lindsey end up at Ole Miss? Frank Wilson, Austin Thomas, they're at Ole Miss. Like it's a very normal thing. And so even though Pete Golding didn't bring Farrelly with him, to take a new job or whatever, he just did what everybody else was doing. There are the details if he'd already been enrolled in class and the whole thing, but Daugherty had already signed a contract to return to Ole Miss, correct? Mm-hmm. Before, I think him and Uman Mielen had
We're
both
signed for 2026.
announced that they were coming back, and then didn't. So, but ultimately, the biggest thing in the whole deal was Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows, because there are no rules. It's the same conversation as college basketball. If you're going to get upset at specific coaches, you're misplacing your anger. Because it's not them. It's the rules they've been allowed, or the lack of rules they've been allowed to play under.
I'm also not going to get mad at a player for following their coach.
Of course
not.
not.
If your coach is leaving, and that's why you went to whatever school you went to, and they go to a different school, it's like, I want to go play for him. I mean, look at James Franklin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He took his entire roster with it. Same thing with Matt, what is it, Campbell?
Matt Campbell, yeah.
From-
That's the biggest one. He took like
He
25
took his whole
players.
roster. I would never fault the players in these situations in general. If there's an opportunity, somebody's going to give you more money or a better opportunity, you take it. If the rules allow you to take it, take it.
But at the same time, like Brandon Hollingsworth is saying that this is a different situation. The situation is a little bit differently, but it's all tampering. Like, let's be very clear. Like, whether your head coach, you followed your head coach to a new school or you didn't, it is tampering. So, like, you're not going to get a legal pass by saying, well, my coach went to Penn State and he reached out to me before I entered the portal. That's not tamper. I was just following my coach. It is still tampering. So, like, I don't really like the sentiment of, like, well, it's a little bit different than the guy who went to Clemson and signed with Clemson and then went to Ole Miss. It's all still tampering. The problem is the NCAA doesn't enforce any rules.
Right. No, are there levels to the tampering? Yeah. I mean, I think that it is a bad look what transpired between Golding, Farrelly, Clemson, and Ole Miss. I mean, he was texting him while he was in class. Dabo laid it all out there for us, a 7-minute rant. It is a bad situation optically, and it is worse than some of what we've seen from some of these other tampering. But the root of the problem is not the specific situations, it's the overarching thing of, just like with college basketball, don't place your anger on Will Wade. It's not Will Wade's fault. It's the system. It's the rules. It is where the current landscape of college athletics is. All of these things are they happen. It's just, and until there are more strict rules, until you're able to somehow put Pandora back in the box. Because as of right now, if I'm going to be completely frank and honest, I don't know how you fix any of this. Like, I know 5 for 5 will help with some of the eligibility rulings, but ultimately, when the NCAA comes down with any ruling, all that's going to happen are court cases. Like, when I read the NCAA's ruling on international players, all I read was, that means a whole lot of basketball programs are going to take the NCAA to court. I don't know how you fix any of these things, how you truly get rules in place, but that is where the sport is now. You are on quite the tipping point of all of these things being overexposed. The tampering, the international, professional, the whole thing is all just getting at a point where it's getting a little out of hand. I mean, what Pete Golding is saying is, yeah, we tampered. So did everybody else. If you're going to come down on us, you got to come down on everybody. But at the same time, how did you go about the tampering? Were you smarter about it or were you not? Because, I mean, Dabo was able to sit there and roll out this whole thing of details. And I don't know what details other programs have about any other tampering. Look, me and Lloyd might both be on the interstate, and we might both be going 15 over the speed limit. But I might be in the center lane, and he might be in the left lane with the cop sitting right there, so Lloyd might get pulled over. Even though we were doing the same crime, the cop is going to pull Lloyd over because of the position on the road he was in. So sometimes you get caught for something
that everybody's doing. Sometimes you might get popped in class for cheating when the 4 chairs next to you are also doing the same thing. Y'all are all copying the same notes. But you get caught. So sometimes you just got to deal with it.
My argument to that would be,
okay,
if the teacher catches you,
yep,
if the cop catches you, fine. If Lloyd runs you off the road into the cop and basically tattles on you, or Christian raises his hand and says, hey, teacher, Mr. Davey, Noah's cheating. You're a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what are you being a pussy for?
I would also like
I
to-
do agree with Pete Golding of, like, what the fuck are we doing here,
Right.
dude? Like, why are you being such a little altar boy? Like, everyone's fucking doing this.
Yeah.
Stop getting your fucking panties. Like, move
everyone
on, dude.
except him is doing it.
Right. I understand. I get it.
It's the one student in the class who's not cheating, complaining about everybody else that's cheated, or complaining about. It's if we were all sitting here and I wasn't cheating,
Yeah.
and I saw Christian copying off my sheet.
Yes.
and I said,
You're
"Excuse me, teacher, Chrissy's copying on my page."
wouldn't
And then
do that.
You're a
Chrissy
bitch.
goes, well, so is everybody else.
No, and I understand Christian's thing of, like, well, if I'm going, everyone's fucking going down with me. Because I do agree with the sentiment of, like, everyone's doing it, but at a certain point, if you get caught, you get caught. You got to take
Right.
your lick. But you're not going to fucking tattle on me.
Yeah.
Like, why are you
I get
fucking
that.
being a little bitch?
Well, and then also to refute Noah's driving point, Lloyd wouldn't get pulled over because Noah would be on his phone driving. The cop would see that and pull Noah over. So that doesn't relate to Pete Golding or anything. It's just, Lloyd, you're not.
He just
you're
wanted
good.
to take a shot at Noah.
Yeah.
And Noah
would be
Noah
short
has a
TikTok.
history of being on the phone.
Hey, Tucker.
But so it's very interesting to see how all these things play out, because look, if they do end up ruling something about Pete Golding and Ole Miss, that's essentially calling his bluff, right? Like, do you think, I'll ask the rooms, like, genuinely, if they do somehow punish Ole Miss, you think Pete Golding legitimately does go scorched earth and just let it all hang out?
I actually don't.
You think he bites the bullet?
I think he bites the bullet. Because they're, like, if you, let's say he tattles on Lane Kiffin because Ole Miss gets some sort of sanction or punishment, well, then Lane Kiffin's going to say, well, Frank Wilson was sitting here and he was probably talking to Harlan Berry.
Right.
And I'm sure Carius Kern didn't just enter the portal and that was the first time he spoke with Ole Miss, and the same thing with JT Lindsey. Like, it would be too much of a mess,
Right.
I think, to get into it. And Pete Golding, to me, as much as I don't like him because he's the coach of Ole Miss and I don't think he's a great coach, he does kind of seem like the kind of guy to be like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not going to tattle. Like, we're just going to bite the bullet here and we're going to go with it.
Well, because I think, to your point, I also don't think the NCAA will really rule anything about this, because
I don't either.
also think they understand
how
what
messy
would
this could get.
transpire
Yeah.
if something does happen, because it would just be this scroll of coaches, players, schools, programs, ADs.
The ripple effect
boosters.
would hit everybody.
It would be unbelievable.
Every player would get ruled ineligible. They'd have to bring us in.
It would be a absolute mess for college sports in general.
Right.
And so I don't think that anything will come down, but I do think if they do go at Ole Miss for it, I do think he'll bite the bullet as well, because but part of me thinks the reason why there won't be any ruling is because he's calling their bluff essentially. He's going, look, come at me, I'll show you what else is going on. And like I agree with your point. I'm not the biggest Pete Golding fan, but he's calling their bluff, and I think ultimately it's going to come out to work well for him.
They're going to back down.
Tiger Mark 880, guys. How much do y'all think it will affect SEC schools if they move the college football playoff field to 24 teams with a 9-game SEC schedule? Wyatt, I'll let you start because I know you feel very strongly about the playoff expansion in general. Mm-hmm. But with the point from SEC meetings where they said they felt like they were bamboozled, where the only reason we agreed to move to 9 games was because we thought it was going to expand to 16, which I thought from the jump. That was the only reason you expand to 9 games, if you could get more teams in, you were guaranteed 4 spots.
Right.
Because if not, then there's no reason, because it only affects you in a negative manner if you're the SEC. I'll let you take
Yeah,
the
I mean,
floor.
they clearly only did go to the 9 games because they thought, okay, we're going to expand to 16 or 24, whatever it is, and they're going to go with they talked about a couple of months ago where they had the automatic qualifiers for each
Right,
conference,
right.
4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten, and then like 2 and 2 from the
Yeah.
Big 12 and the ACC. But to me, like, I kind of thought that was stupid just because the bird in hand, whatever the saying with the bird in hand, you don't know that they're going to expand. Like, a verbal agreement means fucking nothing. But I mean, yeah, from strictly an SEC standpoint, the 2014 playoff obviously helps the SEC because you're going to get more teams in. At the same time, you saw Lane Kiffin talk about it on Pardon My Take the other day. It is so difficult, and it will continue to get even more difficult for SEC teams to win a national championship now with an extra SEC game on the slate because you're playing so many tough games. Your guys are a little bit more fatigued. You're going to have more injuries as opposed to in the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12 where they're only playing maybe 4, at most 3-4 big-time like massive games in big atmospheres per season, and the rest of them are kind of rental wins or maybe semi-tough games, right? So I do think the 2014 playoff helps the SEC, and Steve Sarkisian talked about it, I believe it was yesterday. He did have a good point. He doesn't like the 12 team. He would prefer it to go either to 4 or 24.
Right.
And I think his point's very valid because 12 teams, the sentiment around college football right now for a lot of programs is it's playoff or bust.
Right.
And it's not enough teams in the playoff for that to be the sentiment around a lot of fan bases because you look at it and say it's 12. Well, it's really not 12 because you're getting an automatic qualifier from the group of 5, so now it's really 11. Notre Dame's getting a free spot, so now it's really 10. And the other 3 conference champions are now getting automatic qualifiers. So it's really 7. Yeah. You're looking at
if you don't
7
win your
spots.
You're battling for 7 spots.
If you don't win your conference, you're actually battling for 6 spots because that would be that 4th automatic qualifier for the other Power 4. So if you don't win your conference, you're battling for 6 spots. Yeah. So for a lot of fan bases, even like us last year saying like, if Brian Kelly doesn't make the playoff, we have to fire him. Now, I'm glad we fired Brian Kelly. But I understand Sarkisian's point of 24 would make more sense from the standpoint of the playoff or bust attitude that a lot of college fan bases have adapted. Because right now, you're battling for about 7 spots that you can actually make it into.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree. I mean, I think obviously with it going to a 9-game schedule, the more teams that get into the playoff, the better. I hate because I agree with you. I hate the direction it's going because I personally feel that before every season, I could list out 8 teams that have and in those 8 teams, I can name the national champion before every season. And now some of them might be way off, some might be close, and maybe last year is a year that I wouldn't have been able to because I don't know if I would have put Indiana in that 8. But majority of the time, you can name, especially once the season's been played, and you're just looking at the playoff aspect. There's really only 8 teams that have a realistic chance of pulling it off. And I would say even maybe somewhat less than that number, right? And so, like, it is very interesting the direction it's heading. I understand it because of money and all of those things. And from the SEC standpoint, you need expansion because if you don't, you'll only get a handful of teams in. Like, how many did they get in last year, the SEC?
5, I believe.
5?
Oklahoma, Alabama, A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia.
Like, now that you've added another game to that schedule while keeping it at 12, the sentiment is you have to go 10-2. Mm-hmm. Well, now you've added another game. The reason Texas didn't get in last year was because they played 9 conference games. It was just one of those 9 conference games was an out-of-conference, essentially, against Ohio State. Even with their flub against Florida, they would have made it in had they not scheduled Ohio State, which sucks because then those games don't get played. Mm-hmm. Like LSU versus Clemson, there's no reason to play it. Mm-hmm. Like if LSU loses the game to Clemson and then goes on this run and loses 2 more games, closes out the season 9-2, they're sitting at 9-3 now, and they're not going to get in because they played that game. It gets rid of those games. Mm-hmm. But now you're going to start getting rid of those games, but playing 9 conference games. Like LSU's schedule this year, you play 10 Power 4 games.
Right.
That is a heck of a schedule. Mm-hmm. Now, you look at the schedule and you go, okay, You put Tech between Clemson and Ole Miss, give yourself a bounce back feel, just a breather game, you would assume. You've got McNeese after Texas A&M to kind of give you a break after a strong first four. Then it's SEC from then on out. That is 8 straight conference games with 1 bye week. Brutal.
Well, and you bring up the Texas situation, and a little bit was made about Texas yesterday on social media because Chris Del Conte, the AD of Texas, talked yesterday about they have a home-and-home series with Notre Dame coming up. I believe it's 2028 and 2029, and they asked him about if they're going to keep that on the schedule, and he said, well, I'll say it's tentatively on the schedule. And everyone jumped up Chris Del Conte's ass like, well, why are you being a pussy? You don't want to play Notre Dame? Texas missed the playoff last year because you scheduled a game against Ohio State. And the overarching sentiment from around college football fans, not in the SEC, is, well, you shouldn't have lost to 4-8 Florida on the road. Guess what?
It wouldn't have mattered.
Listen to, okay, like, you are right. If you beat Florida, you make the playoff. That's fine to say. But let's look at Miami. The 10 seed went 10-2 last year. You lost at home to an unranked Louisville because Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions, and you lost on the road to an unranked SMU. Let's add a road game against Indiana to Miami's schedule, which I think is pretty comparable to what Texas did. Texas' schedule is still tougher than that Miami schedule. Miami just ends up losing that Indiana game. They are out the playoff. That's the team that went to the national championship. Like, there's this sentiment that Texas is being a bitch about this. You can't play that game if you're Texas.
Well, and not only that, but Notre Dame is in the best position for that game because if they lose to Texas, the rest
Notre
of their
Dame
schedule
shouldn't
is
be
easy.
Notre
They're
Dame
still
shouldn't
getting
be
in.
conversing about this whatsoever because they have no stock in it.
Right, and this whole situation is the antithesis of the problem in college football right now. When it comes to talking about who's in the playoff and who's not, you're no longer arguing who's got the best wins. Right. You're arguing who's got the best losses.
Or the least losses.
I said it the other day. You're no longer trying to maximize your wins. You're trying to minimize your losses, which inherently makes the regular season way worse than it used to be.
Well, it doesn't matter who you play anymore. Like, it doesn't matter who the team – like, there is no eye test besides when they were comparing Notre Dame and Miami next to each other last year. Like, sometimes there are – but – the majority of the time, it's literally just how can I lose 2 or less games? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what the conversation is. And now for the SEC, I mean, we were talking with Roe yesterday. Like, they have that first 4 for LSU is brutal. Where you've got Clemson at home, which I think extremely confident in, but then you go on the road to Ole Miss, and then you're coming back home to play Texas A&M, who could be the best team in the conference next year. Like, I mean, in those back-to-back games, you're playing maybe the best 2 quarterbacks in the SEC going into the year in Trinidad Chambliss and Marcel Reed. And then in that the easier part of your schedule in the middle, I mean, you're still going on the road to Auburn. And then you close out the year with back-to-back games versus Alabama and Texas. And then on the road, back-to-back games versus Tennessee, one of the toughest places to play, and then against Arkansas. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal. The 9-game conference schedule is brutal.
Well, it seems like, obviously, there's the SEC meetings going on right now, and it feels like every coach that's talking about it feels like they got sold a bill of goods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were all expecting, we're gonna strong-arm the college football playoff, whatever committee that is, and if we go to 9, they'll have to go to 16.
Right.
They went to 9, they didn't go to 16, and now they feel like they got
played.
You got your dick in your hand.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it made their job that much harder.
Yeah.
And it does feel like from if you're a college football coach in the SEC and you want to have belief in your commissioner, it feels like Sankey sold you out a little bit. Yeah. Like, maybe there was never really a deal in place to go to 16. It's like, we're going to add a conference game whether you like it or not. I'll tell you that this is what is going to happen. Mm-hmm. It didn't, and I don't think he had it confirmed that it was or wasn't. He didn't care.
You were appeasing the rest of the country. All right, fine, we'll give you the 9th conference game.
No, he's appeasing himself. because every one of those, every school, he's doing what's best for, in his mind, the conference, not individual teams in the conference. Doing what's best for the SEC because every team in that conference just made an extra $5 million from ESPN. Right. And so that's what he saw. And he said, I don't give a fuck if they go to the 16, but I know that I can. How many teams are in the SEC?
16.
Times 5.
Putting us on the spot.
Yeah, fuck them.
80?
130,000.
80, yeah. Something like that.
Or 130 million, I guess.
But that's all he saw was,
No,
look, I can make the conference an extra $80 million by y'all figure it out. I don't care. Like, it's good for me to get to watch more SEC ball because I don't care who wins. Ultimately, they will get SEC teams into the college football playoff. He doesn't care who wins it as long as they go. And now he just essentially created a college football playoff game at some point.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it very obviously benefits the Big Ten, right? Because their 9-game schedule is not equal to the SEC's 9-game schedule.
Right. On paper, there's no world in which if the college football coaches voted on it, they wouldn't say, let's do it.
No chance. Not at all. Because, I mean...
But if you said we're going to 16, then yeah, let's do it.
Right, because then it makes sense.
Yeah, we can get 12 teams
We'll play more games if we can get 4 guaranteed teams in.
Instead, you just kind of made the landing spots for SEC teams much narrower as opposed to having 5 in. You'll probably get 2 or 3.
That's what I was going to say. It splits the number in half.
That's what scares me about the situation that LSU is in for this upcoming season. Because like we talked about, there are only 7, however many, 6 spots that LSU is vying for to be able to get into the college football playoff. And you've gone all in on this year.
Right.
Like, there again, like the sentiment, it is playoff or bust for LSU this year. And you have to go play Texas A&M in week 4 coming off of Ole Miss. You've got to play Auburn on the road, which is your 8th game in 8 weeks, and you have to go to Jordan-Hare. You're going to have to play Texas. You have to play Alabama. Then you end with 2 road games, Tennessee and Arkansas. Like, it is a brutal schedule. And if I had to pick it right now, I would probably put LSU at 9-3, maybe 10-2. I think one of those games is a swing game, but that's what makes me nervous about the situation. You added that 9th game because you're like, all right, well, we're going to get to 16 teams. You're going to get that those 4 automatic qualifiers. Now you don't have it, so now you're stuck in the fucking middle. You don't get those 4 automatic bids, and you're still at 9 conference games.
No, you're in a tough spot. Last season, the SEC had 7 teams with 6 or 2 or better SEC records, and the same 7 teams all won 10 or more games overall. This year, they only project 2 teams to win more than 9 games overall.
By comparison, 4 Big Ten teams projected to win more than 9 games.
Because that's my point. Like what I was about to say is, okay, 3 teams get in. It'll be the 2 teams that are in the SEC championship, and then the whoever pick one that's number 3 in the conference after that, and that'll be it. Like it'll be the 2 teams that play in the championship game, and then the best record outside of the championship game. And so that means essentially for LSU, they've got to be like you have to be top 3 in the conference. Mm-hmm. Which is tough because you've got a brutal schedule, especially in the SEC, because you're playing those 9 games. And the conversation with the 9 games is now that you've got 3 non-conference games, with 2 of those being essentially gimmies, you would assume if you're going to have 3 losses, all 3 of them would be conference games. And it's also interesting to me looking at the schedule. Which game do you think is the biggest? You bring up a swing game. Which game do you feel is the swing game?
To me, I think it's Texas A&M or Auburn.
Yeah.
Because I do think you beat Clemson. I don't think it looks as pretty as
probably not
people would like it to be, but I think it's one of those games where you look at the final score line and it's maybe like 28-17, and you're like, okay, well, it was a fairly close game, but then you go back and watch it and you're like, wow, LSU dominated that game. Yeah. They just didn't take advantage of all the opportunities. I do think you beat Ole Miss. I don't think there's a way Lane Kiffin lets you lose that game. Texas A&M is the one, we talked about it yesterday at Panda Express, like that is a emotional fall off. I don't know that any college football team has ever seen in the history of college of the sport. But I do think from a crowd perspective, it's
Right.
the opposite.
Oh, it's going to be packed.
Where you go from like the Ole Miss game is kind of a revenge game for Ole Miss. The A&M game is a revenge game for us. And the crowd knows that. If you're 3-0, Tiger Stadium will be fucking
It'll be sold
rocking.
out.
And that's a game where you kind of need Death Valley to will you to a win there.
Yeah.
And then the Auburn game is the other one. I've talked about this for months.
That's a trap
I
game.
hate
It's
that
sneaky.
game. It's your 8th game in
Would
8
you-
weeks, and it's at Jordan Hare. And then I do think you lose to Texas.
Yeah.
I think you beat Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas. So my 2 swing games are Auburn and Texas A&M.
Would you say Auburn? I feel like Auburn's less of a swing game because you're supposed like the reason why it's a trap game, right? Is because you're supposed to win it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it necessarily swings it like, I guess, turn your season around or turn you around the corner of your season. I guess it does in a sense that you're avoiding a trap game, but it's almost like you're supposed to win that game. And if you were to like win it, I don't know if it really does much for you, but if you lose it, it almost kills you.
When he says swing game, to me, what I'm going through the schedule and I'm listing off wins and losses,
Yeah.
the ones that I'm most confident about. I feel like you go outside of the A&M and Auburn game. I think you're 9-1 with a loss to Texas. The 2 games that I am like I don't know that you win outside of the Texas game are Texas A&M and Auburn. So those are the 2 games where if you split them, you're 10-2, you're in the playoffs. If you lose both, you're out of it. So to me, those are the swing games in the sense of those are the ones that I think are going to decide your fate in the college football playoffs.
Because go ahead.
I would almost go the swing games this year would be the Ole Miss game because I
That's
know,
fair.
I hear what
That
you're
is the
saying.
other one.
You're on the road in that one, in college football especially.
Right.
When you're on the road,
Especially
I mean,
that atmosphere.
right? I would say that's like because I think I could see us losing that one and beating Texas at home. Like,
Because
I
to
see that possibility.
My point, like I look at last season, right, and I think you had, if you go preseason, you look at swing games. I think Clemson obviously is a swing game because you didn't know who you were. You didn't know if you're going to be any good or not.
Mm-hmm.
You thought you were going to be really good, but you hadn't won one of those. So that one was a swing game. And I think it was to me, it was debated between Ole Miss and Alabama were the next swing games, really.
Yeah.
This season, looking at it, I would go Ole Miss and Alabama are the swing games to me because I agree on Auburn being a trap. I do think that one is a dangerous one because you are sitting at you're going on the road to Jordan Hare, 8 games in 8 weeks, the whole thing. Like it is on paper, it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to the Ole Miss game last year where you hadn't had a bye week yet. Now you're going on the road, the whole thing because LSU was the higher ranked team going into that game. They were the favored team going into that game, and they didn't win it. They weren't, and so Auburn to me is a trap game, and so I do agree with that. I think the reason I go Ole Miss is because I think if you lose to Ole Miss, it puts you in a real tough spot from an emotion standpoint, a fanfare standpoint. A lot of things start to work against you if you lose that game.
Yeah.
Especially national media perspective. And so that makes the next week a tough one against A&M because is the fan base as excited as they should be? Maybe not, right? What is the national media, the whole perspective and everything play into if you're not able to win really the one game on the schedule that like
Everybody's going
to be paying attention to. And so because personally, to me, I would pick LSU to lose the A&M game regardless of if they win the week before or not.
Right.
Because I think that one's just it's a tough one. It's the back-to-back with that and Ole Miss, regardless of if it's a win or a loss. But to me, the reason I don't have that one picked as a swing game because I think if you're able to beat Ole Miss, it doesn't matter if you lose that game.
Yeah.
That's why that one to me is like, fine, let it be a loss. You're going to have 2 losses somewhere. I'm fine with marking that one up as one if you win the Ole Miss game. Then I think if you can get through that next stretch of the schedule,
the middle 4.
the middle 4 with Kentucky, Mississippi State, Auburn, and McNeese unscathed, that means you're going into Alabama with a 1 record, like 6-1, 7-1, a 7-1 record
Off a bye.
going into a bye week, right? You're coming off of a bye week, and that game is going to be a playoff-like atmosphere with a chance to beat Alabama at home, with which you've only done twice in the last 15 years, 16 years. So that checks the playoff light, and so that's why that one's my next swing game, because then if you win that one, that means you can lose to Texas. If you lose to Alabama, you've got to beat Texas because you have to split those 2 games to keep everything in front of you. And so it puts a lot of pressure on Texas, the Texas game, which is the tougher matchup. I don't think anyone can debate Texas is going to be much better than Alabama this year, in my opinion. Like, just from a players on the field, they are. And so those two are my swing games, because if you can get through Ole Miss, it allows the excitement to stay, and you can, if you battle and the A&M game is fun, even if you lose it, you can get over that. You can build the momentum back up through that next 4 to get to the bye week. Then you got to capitalize against Alabama and ride it out after that. If you can capitalize against Alabama, it gives you 1 loss in 3 games. You can go 2 and you can win 2 out of those last 3. Out of Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, you need to win 2 out of those 3. That puts you in a real good spot.
Yeah.
And what it allows that Texas game to be is an 8-1 LSU with Texas coming to town. And from a return on investment standpoint, Baton Rouge will be a playoff Super Bowl-like atmosphere for, to me, that's one of the biggest things this season needs to be a success, is they need that game in the second week of November to be a playoff game. Like, it's got, like, you need it to be. And I think that's what needs to happen.
Let me go make sure I don't miss the student ticket deadline.
There you go.
Attaboy.
Lloyd?
I think this is – it's very clearly Ole Miss and A&M.
Yeah.
Like, because the way that I look at it, first of all, like you said, the narratives around the LSU Ole Miss game and what the talking points will be if Lane Kiffin loses to Ole Miss. Obviously, LSU becomes the. They're not going to be talking about the fact that Ole Miss won. They're going to be talking about the fact that Lane Kiffin lost.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll take it a step further. If you do beat Ole Miss and then you have a letdown against Texas A&M, what's the narrative around Lane Kiffin? Can't win the big one. It would be, typical Lane Kiffin put all of his eggs in the one basket to beat Ole Miss, and you forgot what was in front of you with a home game against Texas A&M, and then it becomes that talking point of, was there too much of a emphasis put to beat Ole Miss and they didn't show up for A&M, and what's really important, is that a championship mindset to have? All those things that national people will say. There's also a very real possibility that you are, after 4 weeks in this season, 2-2.
Yeah. No, real. It's real. That's what Rose said yesterday. Like, I mean, that first 4, you need to be at worst 3-1, and it's very possible you're 2-2.
Because I think the swing game, quote unquote, is what's the most palatable loss at the end of the year.
Right.
If you beat Ole Miss, which it feels like the only thing that's really holding you back from beating Ole Miss is the environment. Like, I think that's the only thing that people like LSU.
I think you're the better team.
You're the better team.
You're the better coaches.
Better coach.
The whole deal.
Whole deal. And if you lost, it's going to be like, well, that place was crazy.
Right.
So then you start going through that. If he loses to Ole Miss, and which feels like, how could you even win in that spot, whatever, it's going to be if Ole Miss isn't very good.
Yeah.
Because there's a real world in which Ole Miss wins that game and falls off a cliff. Because that's all that mattered.
I think they fall off a cliff regardless, win or loss. I
think they can ride out after a win. They're going to carry that momentum because everybody feels validated. Now you're like, maybe we are good.
Yeah.
But if you lose to Ole Miss and they aren't then that's going to be the biggest thing that people highlight, circle star, and go, we lost to that Ole Miss team?
Right.
And so it's like, whatever your worst loss in conference is, it better be to a team that's good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that they can't point back and go. It's the same thing that when, like, Notre Dame lost in week 2 to whoever the fuck. Remember, they lost Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
And it was, this should matter, right? And then it became, well, no, I don't think it matters. But when it happened, it did.
Yeah.
Like, you can't lose to a non-power 4 school. But at the end of the day, it didn't end up mattering. But for this and the LSU schedule, because if you're 2-2, and it's one of these losses that you have that, whether it be to Kentucky, Auburn, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, Arkansas.
You got to go 8-0 if you're 2-2.
I think you could get in with 3, maybe, but it depends on, like I said, depends on what that loss was or those 2 losses are.
And what the rest of the conference looks like.
Yeah. If you lose to a team that's good, then it's fine. If you lose to, like, say you lose to A&M after you beat Ole Miss, and A&M falls off and they lose 4 games, it's like, that's not a very good loss. And so you have to find that one. That'll be and it won't be decided until later in the year.
Yeah. That's true. It'll be very interesting. I mean, this is what happens when you have a 9-game conference schedule. I think what I'm banking on is, to your point, the palatable losses. I'm banking on Texas A&M and Texas being the most palatable losses on the schedule. Because I think, as of right now, those are the two I'm the most confident in being very good at the end of the year.
Right.
And so I kind of picked the two games that are before them as the swing games. Because to me, like that Alabama game is a sneaky one because if you are who you should be at that point and you're coming off a bye week, you have to capitalize on that. And I think they will. I think LSU's the better team than Alabama, which is not something you've been able to say for a very long time. It is still Alabama. They still were a playoff team last year. And who's their quarterback? Is their quarterback going to be Mack or Russell?
It's going to be Mack or Russell, yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see how all the things play out. But I just know that Texas game needs to feel like a playoff game. Like just from so many perspectives other than just football. Like I've said it many times, I think the return on investment is vitally important with the money that you've spent. And if you want to be competitive going forward, you need to be able to continue to spend money. Like with the recruiting weekend you have this weekend, I mean, you have Jalen Brewster, who's a 5-star, number 1 overall player, the number 1 D lineman. You have Easton Royal, 5-star, the number 2 wide receiver, number 10 overall player. You have Xavier Sabb, who's a 5-star, number 22 overall player, number 4 wide receiver. You have the number 5 edge, who's a 5-star. You have the number 16 safety, a 4-star. Like you have a packed recruiting weekend with what you've already had commit, the number 1 tight end, top 10 quarterback, the whole deal. To continue to be able to be effective, you have to be able to have the money to do it, and they need a return on their investment. You have to win. And so ultimately, to me, that Texas game being a playoff game, if you are 9-1 going into that, or 8-1 going into that game, that will have been your 4th playoff-like atmosphere at that point in the year. Mm-hmm. Like that, to me, is one of the biggest things is you need A&M, Alabama, Texas, and then, of course, Clemson. I think Clemson there's no chance it's not. So you need those 3 to all be big-time playoff-like games. And I think if you beat Ole Miss, A&M is. I think if you get through and you come out the bye week and you're sitting at 7-1, I think Alabama is. But then I feel like you do – and you can lose to Alabama, and the Texas game will still be big because it'll be win or go home, essentially.
Yeah.
But if you're able to be – because at that point, I would say – if you're 8-1 with the record, the schedule you've played, you're a top 10 team, maybe top 5. With Texas, who's probably also a top 10 team, I mean, it'll be game day, it'll be a playoff, the whole thing, and that's a win for all the people that have invested money in this thing. They're getting that return because Baton Rouge will become a powerhouse of football for the year. That's 4 playoff games in a season. And so even if you don't make the big playoff, you had 4 playoff-like atmospheres where the city's buzzing and people are eating at the restaurants and going to everything that transpires during wins when people visit puts money back into Baton Rouge, which puts money back in the pockets of people who are giving the money. That's the return on the investment is you're getting. And for some of the boosters, they just want to see LSU win. They want to be in Tiger Stadium for those big-time games. So if you can do that, it'll be extremely exciting. So
LSU Texas is probably, at least for now, just doing projection season, it's probably a battle for a spot in the SEC championship.
I would agree. That game, like that,
Texas doesn't play anybody.
That game could be the biggest game in college football. Like if you just, I mean, because we've listed off the names. I mean, Cam Coleman versus DJ Pickett, Jordan Seaton versus Colin Simmons. I mean, think about the NFL scouts.
Sark versus Lane.
Kiffin.
Yep.
Leavitt and Manning. I mean, you're going to be like NFL scouts.
I hate that storyline. I hate that fucking storyline. Manning coming back to LSU.
No, the whole thing.
I hate that.
But NFL scouts are going to be sitting there like that. There are going to be 50 of them at that game.
I don't like the feel of that.
And they're going to be sitting there like this. They're just going to be taking notes for the entire football.
Mickey better be in the fucking building.
It's going to be one of the biggest. Like, you want to talk about regular season games still having meaning? That one's, it's got to. Because like Lloyd said, projection season, talking season as of right now, that should be like a CFP playoff game, like play-in game.
Shaq will be there.
Oh my! I mean, look, where does Burrow play the week before?
Lil Wayne will be the guest picker.
He could show up and do the freaking wave like he did in Texas.
Young boy halftime show.
I need Calevon Chason shirt off, drinking the water bottles on their side.
Can we get a Marcel Brooks dance?
That would be elite.
He had a sack in that game. Oh, I think he did. Maybe not.
I need 1 3rd and 17.
Oh, yeah.
Caden Durham legacy game.
Yeah.
There you go. Look, I mean, we could turn this Texas game on May 28th into the biggest story of them all, and you just got to hope that happens.
I'd like the Longhorn uterus logo somewhere on the field because I vividly remember that from the 2019 game.
There will probably be some
Easton Royal.
some fights. The Eastern Royal Bowl.
He'll be an LSU commit at that point.
Yeah. He'll be on the LSU sideline.
100%.
It's gonna be unbelievable. Like,
Are they bringing Neck back? Did I see that?
bringing
Are
Neck
they allowed
back?
to bring Neck back?
I think you're just thinking about Neck consistently.
Pause.
No, I don't think they're bringing.
No,
Neck back.
I thought I saw something about that.
I mean, the student
That would be
section. The
fun.
student section will take care of it.
No, I mean, yeah.
The band's not gonna play it
I thought that's what I saw. The
Yeah.
band will play it
No,
again.
I don't.
Okay.
unless
It
somebody
would be
comes
fun.
down the line and says, "I will pay the fine ahead of schedule."
I can see Lane.
Like Odell.
Like Odell. So, look, we appreciate everybody hanging out. We will take a quick break here. We've rolled into hour number 2 this morning. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more Tingle & Co. Talk a little bit of baseball because there's a lot of conversation like we opened up with. We'll start with that right after this.
Wardo's was created in honor of Alan Ward Granning III, fondly known by family and friends as Wardo. In 2019, the oldest brother of the tribe passed away unexpectedly. His remaining siblings and loved ones wanted to honor his memory in a special way. In 2022, Ward's family decided to combine the need for a sandwich shop in downtown Natchez with a desire to pay tribute to Ward's love of good friends, good times, and great food. Through blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours of hard work, Wardo's was born. So go visit Wardo's today at 309 North Broadway Street in Natchez, where the po' boys are so good, you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
Hey, Miss Lou, come visit us, Tom and Ryan Granning at GOMART on the Go Deli.
GOMART has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need.
Located at the corner of Highland Boulevard and Highway 61 South in Natchez.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where everyone is family.
When it comes to your home, the roof over your head matters. At CAS Roofing, we don't just install shingles, we build peace of mind. With years of experience and a commitment to craftsmanship, our team shows up on time, gets the job done right, and treats every project like it's our own home. Whether it's repair, a replacement, or storm damage that caught you off guard, CAS Roofing is ready. We're local, we're dependable, and we stand behind every nail, every shingle, and every promise we make. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about roofing, it's about protecting what matters most. CAS Roofing, built on trust, backed by quality. It is the cathedral of college football, and worship happens here. Where the sun finds its home in the western sky, and it is Saturday night in Death Valley.
All right, welcome back here as we open up or continue hour number 2 on this Thursday morning. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us live here on Tingle & Co. Brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Let's see.
Did you think, Chrissy, when you started to work here, that you would be like, oh, we're definitely going to talk Saints Pels every day?
No, not every day, but I thought in the offseason a lot more because I listened to Jordy a few times, and he talked about, Zion, talked about the Saints. I thought it'd be more than what we do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which I think is fair.
That's the funny thing, because I keep up with the Pelicans a lot.
Yeah.
I
I tell people this a lot,
football.
and it's
Talk
not
LSU.
it's not because of my lack of love for LSU. It's just because of growing up a Hornets fan.
Yeah.
My second championship behind an LSU football championship that I want to see
Is a Pelicans
Pels finals, because it's also the finals experience, the NBA playoff run. Like that is always cool.
It is.
Watching other teams
And
do it.
it is so unlikely.
Right. Yeah. I can't even fathom having a finals or a
Second round playoff game.
Western Conference Finals game in
Yeah.
New Orleans. Is that even? It's not real life anymore.
No, it would not be real life if that were to happen. It'd
It's
be
just
crazy.
so out of
It's never going to happen.
right.
That's the
well, things could change.
Hey.
But yeah. Not with Gale.
Sell
no.
the
No,
team.
You are right now.
So Lloyd, I looked up the 5 for 5. We're going to open up this conversation discussing 5 for 5. The NCAA's Division I cabinet discussed possible implementation of an age-based eligibility model. Should it be approved and signaled it would consider voting on it at its meeting next month. So June is the month when the voting would happen for 5 for 5. So it'll be this coming month of June is when that'll happen. So then that creates the conversation around LSU baseball. We talked about there are 3 names that are very, very highly talked about when it comes to going into next year. Can you get them to return? Derek Curiel, who is a draft-eligible sophomore, projected. He's the first-round pick, I would say, safest out of the 3 that he will be taken in the first round. Some people have him mocked top 15, top 20. Some people think he might drop out of the top 20 or maybe out of the first round. So there's Curiel, who I think surefire first-round pick. Then you have Jake Brown, who's right on the cusp, but I don't think will be a first-round selection. And then you have Stephen Milam, who really knows where he would end up. Obviously, he will be projected in different places. It depends where people would value his defensive ability and what he can do as a switch hitter. If 5 for 5 goes through in this coming month, it puts a real interesting twist on this whole conversation, because that means Milam keeps leverage, Brown keeps leverage, and Curiel becomes a freshman again. And I think Curiel's the interesting one. It's obviously where we're going to start. So, Lloyd, I will turn to you. The word got out yesterday, as like you said, after further review, had Derek Curiel on via Gordon McKernan. And he talked about an injury that he had and that he was essentially wrestling with the decision between the draft or returning to LSU. From your perspective, where do you think it currently stands, and what do you anticipate happening?
I do think that Jay's biggest battle this year, or this offseason, is that I don't think it's going to be so much so as trying to nab players out of the portal. I think he's going all in on having the possibility of those guys returning, whether it be Milam, Brown, or even Curiel. On paper, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Curiel to come back because it depends on what Major League Baseball is, like what their focus is whenever this 5-for-5 comes through. If it's, he still has leverage now because if you're Jake Brown or if you're Steven Milam, because now they have an extra year, and everybody has always been under the purview that, they have leverage because they have an extra year. Does the Major League Baseball draft now shift to, we don't care about leverage very much, it's age?
Yeah.
And if it's Curiel, that's the one that can start their clock the earliest and have somebody that you could have, be 20 years old and a first-round pick. And it's hard for him to look around and go, how much money can I get from NIL versus what's the number that they're going to throw at me in Major League Baseball? Because if Curiel thinks he has more in the tank or can become this player that is wholly like the best player in the country, then maybe that's what he's looking for, to be able to say, no, I don't want to be considered a top 10 or top 15 pick because of my measurables and projectability out of high school. I want you to have seen what I did in college, and I'm the best player in the sport, and I'm going to go top 5. That's the only thing that he could really wrestle with, because there is a huge push, and you saw it with the NIL donations and all that stuff. It was for this. It was for players like Curiel, Brown, Milam to be able to come back, and you can kind of woo them away and find a number comparable to what they're going to get in the draft. Now, do I think Curiel is wrestling with coming back? I do, but I think ultimately it will matter where he gets drafted and the number that he signs for, because you saw this happen with Ethan Fry last year. Mm-hmm. You saw it happen with a number of guys Chase Shores. Like, whenever you have the Omaha bump where guys get to see you and it's like you're the focus of what they're going to like kind of base their projections around and what their pick is going to be, that changes a lot. Now Curiel is just over there waiting. Like, he's not going to play any meaningful baseball that's going to help his draft stock go up. But if I would be shocked, I guess, to say that he's coming back, but it has been a prevailing theory that he is more interested in that than anybody really considered. I think everybody just assumed he was leaving. Same thing with Milam. Mm-hmm. I think everybody just assumed he was leaving.
Right.
Same thing with Brown. But those are I think the Brown conversation and the Milam conversation are also very interesting, because I do know they are. Look, we had Armstrong on who was very adamant that Milam was coming back. Now, the Jake Brown thing is wholly dependent on the 5-for-5, because I don't think he wants to leave. I think he wants to run it back for one more go. I think there's also a possibility of showing more of his athleticism in the field, if you know what I'm saying, and being that guy that continues to improve and makes himself undeniably a first-round pick. Yeah. That's where I think you could get to a number with Jake Brown and with NIL and all of that, to where you can make it very easy for him to make that decision. So that's the more interesting thing to me, is those two guys, because, like I said, if you get a Jake Brown that is playing every day, goes to a regional, super regional, Omaha, then you get to see it. It's like, wow, this guy has turned in from a project that was like a cool thing to see as a pinch hitter, and you can see some of the athleticism versus, he's hitting 4-hole for you every day. Like, I don't think Cade Anderson goes top 3 as the 3rd overall pick without what he did in regional, super regional Omaha. I think the same thing for Chase Shores. I think that did a huge bit of momentum for his draft stock. So I think that you kind of play for that and hope and angle to be able to use that as leverage in its own right. But we will see, because I think that's the portal opens June 1st through the 30th. Mm-hmm. And they're coming up with the 5-for-5 decision in that month as well. So you'll see some guys that this doesn't only impact LSU; it's across the country.
Yeah.
And then you have the Major League Baseball draft, which is July 15th. So you'll have 5-for-5 figured out, and then you'll have the draft that will be the next big decision maker as to when you see people get drafted or not, and it gives you time at least.
Yeah.
And you're not playing baseball.
Yeah. The interesting thing to me, and what I was doing while you were talking, I was doing a little bit of research. It reminds me the mindset going into this one. Obviously, 5-for-5 plays a key role. When I've done this comparison before, 2024 Ohio State football, right? Coming off of a 2023 season that wasn't the best. They underperformed. They weren't able to win a national championship, right? They end up winning the one in 2024. Their goal going into that offseason was kind of one specific thing, because they had a $20 million roster. It was like the first announced $20 million roster, but it wasn't because they went and bought players off of other teams. It was because they beat the NFL draft. And that's what the research I went and did was they retained Emeka Egbuka, who ended up being, very, very good in the NFL a year later after winning a national championship. They retained him. He had an injury, but they made sure they got him back. They did the same with Donovan Jackson, who was the left guard. He had an opportunity to go to the NFL. He didn't. JT Tuimoloau, who was the defensive tackle, they retained him instead of him going to the NFL draft. Jack Sawyer, the defensive end, they got him to come back instead of going to the draft. And then the big one that was announced was Denzel Burke, who was going to be like a first-round corner who they paid to stay at Ohio State in Columbus rather than go be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. And then with that, so they were able to keep these core pieces, especially defensively. And then what they did was then they went into the portal. They added three key pieces, right, in Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, and Caleb Downs. And then they go get a key freshman who ends up being their best wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith. But the reason they were able to only go and add really 3 players through the portal that came in were instant impact was because they kept their roster. And so I look at LSU baseball this offseason, and it's eerily similar to me, because if you want to be as good as you anticipate, one, you need to retain the guys that played really well for you last year, the Cerners, the Braun. You got to obviously keep those guys here. If you can have a couple of freshmen come in and step up, whatever. The biggest thing to me is if you're able to get Milam to come back, well, that checks a huge box for your infield. And it allows you to spend money elsewhere in the portal, because because if Milam doesn't return, you got to go get a shortstop. And you want one with experience that can be your everyday guy. But if he does come back, that answers a huge question. It allows your infield to kind of settle in. And maybe you just need to add one infielder now that you can, whether it's second or third or what have you, with Ruckert or some of the other pieces you have. If you're able to get Jake Brown to come back, well, that's a huge answer in the outfield, because then if you lose Curiel, which I think you probably do, if you get Jake Brown to come back, he can play center field for you. So now you've got your shortstop and your center fielder figured out, and it makes those other positions a little bit easier to kind of figure out. It gives you the ability to go find your Caleb Downs and your Quinshon Judkins rather than having to build a whole new roster. And then potentially, if you're able to keep Curiel, if you're able to keep all 3, you're in an outstanding position. But I think if you're able to keep those 2, which if I were to just gut feeling kind of with the way Lloyd was talking, if 5 for 5 comes through, I think both of those guys, the reason why they're battling with it the way they are right now is because of the leverage conversation. I think if the leverage conversation wasn't a thing, which 5 for 5 would make it not a conversation anymore, they would both be back in Baton Rouge. And if you're able to do that, it allows you to sit back and go, okay, well, let's add one arm, one infielder, an outfielder, by one arm, one starter, one outfielder, one infielder, and a couple of relievers, pin arms, bring in some of these freshmen, and you're sitting in a real good spot. Especially with, like I say, bring in a starter, even though you're bringing back your whole weekend rotation. And so, if you're able to do the retention thing, like that's why I think of Ohio State 2024 so much, because if you check the retention box, it puts you on a national championship path. And that's what happened to Ohio State. That's where LSU is right now. If you're able to check that box and you get those 2, you get Milam and Brown to come back, it puts you on a pathway to be a favorite for the national championship next year, even after a year where you were no bueno. And you went, what was the record, the final record? 30 and what?
30 and 28, I think.
9 and 21 in the SEC. If you're able to check the retention box, you're in a great position moving forward. You got something?
Yeah, the interesting part of this for me is not necessarily from an LSU perspective. How does 5 for 5 affect the entirety of college baseball.
Right.
Because Jake Brown and Stephen Milam aren't the only guys who would decide to, like, if they were to decide to come back, there would be players all over the country that would gain an extra year of leverage and likely come back to school.
Right.
To whatever, whether it's an SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, so the talent in college baseball for next year, if 5 for 5 is passed, I think would be at an all-time high, and I am very interested to see how that affects how the transfer portal works, because I don't think there's as many guys going from smaller schools to bigger schools because, like you mentioned, if LSU keeps Jake Brown, Stephen Milam, that's 2 guys out of the portal you don't necessarily need to go get.
Right.
And then from an LSU perspective, the other thing I wanted to talk about, we talked about it a little bit off air the other day, I do think you're going to have to go out and get a pitcher. I don't have this big confidence in me that they're going to be able to go out and get an ace from the transfer portal. And it's not necessarily an LSU issue. Like, it's not that I don't think Jay Johnson is a great recruiter or they don't have the money to do it. For me, when I look at it, if I'm a starting pitcher,
it's the situation you're walking into.
It's the situation you're walking into. If I'm an Anthony Ianson or I'm a Lou Coleman or I'm a Gage Jump, well, I don't know that I necessarily want to go to LSU because LSU brings back all 3 of their starters from last year, and you can even throw Marco Paz in that mix because it's clearly Jay Johnson wants him to start at a certain point in his career. So why would I go and maybe not even be a weekend starter, have to go and compete for that job? And then there's also the financial aspect of Kason Evans was the best reliever in the country 2 years ago. William Schmidt was maybe a borderline first-round pick coming out of high school. Cooper Moore was a big-time transfer portal get last year. All those guys are getting paid, I would say, fairly well. I don't know the actual numbers, but they're not getting paid peanuts. Right. And so if I'm a pitcher that maybe was statistically better than all 3 of those guys last year, which the numbers on those 3 guys weren't the best last year, and I was in a power conference, maybe ACC, Big 12, I'm saying, well, you've got to pay me at least what these guys are making, if not more. And at that point, I don't know that it makes financial sense for LSU to go get a guy who's not an SEC arm, didn't pitch in the SEC last year. So to me, when I look at the transfer portal, I completely agree with you. You want to be Ohio State and just go get a Caleb Downs. Right. You want to go get a Quinshon Judkins. Just go get the best available guys to add to the top-end talent of your roster. I don't know how feasible that's going to be for starting pitchers specifically. I do think they go and get a starting pitcher. I just think it's maybe a lower guy who you can kind of maybe not lowball with money, but you're not having to shell out a majority of your NIL budget on that guy. I do think they go big for the lineup in the portal, though, of course.
No, it'll be interesting to see. It starts with this step of, can you retain these players?
Of course.
And on the point of Milam and Brown, I think those guys love LSU. They love Baton Rouge. I think that feeling is reciprocated, right? Especially in this room, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to find bigger fans than us when it comes to those 2 guys because of all that they've done for LSU. And if they're able to check that retention box, I just think it puts LSU in such a good spot. Like, and that's I felt similar going into this past season, like with them being able to retain, like bringing back a Zach Cowan and a Chris Stanfield. Like, obviously those are. It's not the same conversation, but when it was announced those guys were coming back, I was like, that's huge. Mm-hmm. Like, because if with Fry leaving, it was like, okay, well, if Stanfield gets drafted, that puts you in a tough spot. Who's going to be in left or right? Like who's going to be your third outfielder? And then you're returning a national championship outfield, and of course you got bit with the injury bug. But I think it's huge. If you can get that retention back, that's the first step into being what you anticipate you should be in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is interesting because this conversation comes up, and I assume that everybody thought that LSU was going to go big into the portal.
Right.
Because if you pitched people that LSU was just going to run it back with the team that they just had, I don't think that really gets anybody excited, even though it should. But I think people were expecting LSU to, you have to overhaul this entire lineup. Yeah. You have to go plug these pieces in that you don't have, maybe you don't have on the roster. You don't know, but it just seems like LSU has always been a portal team. Like they've been able to add and find players that have made positive impacts. This year they added 10. How would you rank the transfer portal class as a whole? Because they did it on LSU Wire. They did a write-up and ranked every player that was in the portal and gave them a grade A through F.
And from the portal standpoint, I think the years you've been successful in the portal was when you've been able to cherry pick. Like when you were able to point out specific spots, right? You were able to go Anthony Einson starting pitching. You were able to go Chris Stanfield center field, Daniel Dickinson second base. You were able to cherry pick, right? You were able to go, you know what, Paul Skeens, Tommy White, right? You didn't have to build through the portal like you did in maybe 2024, where you kind of went heavy on a good number of guys and they just didn't pan out. Or really this season, because I ultimately, like, where are we grading the overall class or specific guys?
I think you could do both if you'd like.
Because I would say overall class, it's tough. I'll split it up. We'll go pitching, because I think pitching you actually did a relatively good job portal-wise. Position players you did not. Like, I think pitching-wise, I think Lockenmeyer was good enough.
Not bad.
Cooper Moore was good until he got hurt. Garcia was good. Plog, I think, because he was a portal guy, wasn't he? He's a freshman.
He's a freshman.
I think you were able to check some of the boxes pitching wise. I think there was a lot of pressure more on returning guys than there were on the portal guys from a pitching standpoint. I think what you went out to go get in the portal with Cooper Moore, you did. He got hurt, so that's the biggest bummer. From a position player standpoint, it would be hard to not put it. Like, I feel like I'll be sugarcoating it if I put it at a D. I mean, the one guy from a position player standpoint you were able to get something out of, he got hurt. Like, Seth Dardar's the only one that gave you anything out of your position guys you went and got out of the portal. And he ended up essentially breaking his ankle against Bethune-Cookman right at the beginning, in the middle of SEC play. And so he was hurt for the remainder of the year. Outside of him, I mean, Simpson didn't really perform the way you anticipated. Zach York definitely didn't perform the way you anticipated. And Trent Carraway was just not good.
They weren't even starters towards the end of the – it wasn't like you got bad contributions. They weren't even on – it's the same conversation we have with football where the money you spent isn't even on the field.
Well, because that's the – and I think the biggest thing that plays into the grade is, what did you anticipate? You anticipated not having to start Jack Ruckert at second base every game.
Right.
Or
Mason Braun.
Allowing John Pearson to DH. And you anticipate – Trent Carraway was supposed to be your everyday third baseman, and I think wasn't. Right? Second base you were going to do by committee anyways, but you were just never able to be comfortable in that spot. Like, it was just – and then at first base, I mean, Braun had to play first base for you instead of being a DH and getting to just hit homers the whole year and just be a bat. You had to play him at first base. I mean, you played Yaman at first base. You played Cerna at first base. You were doing everything because the guy you brought in to play first base didn't play first base.
Right.
So I would say overall portal class, I would put it at a C-, D+. Pitching wise, C+. Position wise, D-.
Yeah. I'd go D+, because I think the pitching grade obviously helps it a little bit, but I think there was more of a portal emphasis on the position players, so that grade is going to be more impactful than the pitching guys. And I mean, like, some of it was unlucky, like Seth got hurt, Cooper Moore got hurt, but yeah, I would also go F+ if that's even a thing, or D-. I mean, and I think Lloyd's point is interesting, where people are expecting Jay to just go heavy into the portal this offseason. That's kind of what got you in trouble last season. And Jay even said it at I can't remember which series it was after. It was like, he made a mistake constructing the team by going so heavy into the portal, and not A&M? It was after Texas A&M, instead of developing some of the younger guys that were on the roster already. Mikey Ryan, who went to, I believe it's NC State and did really well. Costello, who is really doing really well at Maryland. Ashton Larson, who I believe is Texas's starting first baseman. So I don't necessarily see – I do think they're going to get guys out of the portal. They're not going to go Dabo and just not get anyone out the portal. But to say that they're going to go to the portal to fix an issue that was brought about by going to the portal, I don't think that's necessarily what's going to happen.
You would like the heartbeat of the 2027 team to be Aaron Beatty, Cerna, Braun,
Yes.
potentially Brown, Milam, Ruckert, Pearson, Patrick, like the guys that were on the roster.
Right.
You would like the heartbeat of next year's team to be those guys. Like it. The names I started off with, like those three, I think are the biggest. Braun, Cerna, Aaron Beatty, like those three guys are set in stone, first base, DH, and catcher every game.
Of course.
Like I don't even think there's a conversation. Like unless Braun, you end up having to put him in the outfield again, which I hope you don't, because I hope you have those boxes checked so he can just play first base because
He looked good.
he's a good first baseman,
Really
and he can swing the bat. And they all played so well in SEC play. I think the biggest thing is like all three of them first opportunity to really experience SEC play every day because Aaron Beatty, although he was a sophomore, Boppy handled business the year prior, so he didn't
Right.
really have to be an everyday guy. He was kind of a Saturday. He was Ionson's catcher, essentially. Those three guys should be the heartbeat of your team going next year because they were kind of already the heartbeat of this team.
Right.
And then if you're able to bring Milam and Brown back, I mean, those five, that puts you in a real good spot.
Of course.
And so that's what it should be. It should not be. But, the hard part is if, say, they all three go pro, you might go a little heavier in the portal, Well,
Well, at that point, you would have to.
You kind of have to. Like, I do think there's a way to construct it from the guys you have. Like, there are players that you can put in different that are already on the roster.
Yeah.
You have Harden. You have Patrick that can go play in the outfield. You have Ruckert who could end up being your shortstop. Like, you have the pieces. It's just how much do they develop and how much do you trust them to actually step up and fill those positions?
Right. Well, look, all those guys are like Fonz said, Patrick, Harden, Ruckert, Claus. I think all of those guys are good players. Like, I do think they can be successful at LSU. My thing is, I don't want to be going into the season penciling them in at certain positions.
Right.
Because we haven't seen them consistently be able to do it. I'm fine with bringing in portal guys and having open competitions for positions.
That's what you should do.
Of course. Like, I don't want to say Jack Ruckert's your starting second baseman next
Right,
year. I really like Jack Ruckert. A lot of people are shitting on Jack Ruckert. The defense got markedly better when he got put in at second base. I understand he had the two big errors, the one against Oklahoma early in the season and the one against Auburn. I like the way he swings the bat. I like the way he goes opposite field. And, there's certain things about all those guys that I like. The problem is you shouldn't have to pencil them in.
Yeah.
You should be able to go out and get portal guys and say, all right, Daniel Harden, go and compete with player X from whatever school from the transfer portal for the left field spot. You know what I mean?
And that's where I think, like, there are only three guys that are that are locks for their position. Like, those are the only three. Everything else, these guys have a head start. Harden, Patrick, Ruckert, Pearson, like they do because they're on the roster. They had the whole season behind them. There's competition at those spots. There should be. If you're able to get Brown and Milam back, which a 5-for-5 goes through, I feel confident in. Would be first. I mean, I just can't get over. Like, it would be huge. Then you have 5 spots that I think are locked down.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have DH and catcher locked down. You have first base. You have an outfield spot. I would assume Brown would be in center field.
Probably, yeah.
And then shortstop. And then your pitching staff, you'd be confident in your returning that staff, your weekend rotation, the whole thing. Like, it puts you in a real good spot because then you just have to fill a couple of holes. You need to fill an out, like, go get a guy to play in the outfield so then Harden and Patrick and one of those other guys can step up in one of the other spots or battle out and beat that guy out. And then in the infield, get an infielder that can battle for second or third, and then Ruckert or Pearson or whoever can battle for the other spot. Or Claw, like however you make it work.
The last part of it that we haven't really discussed, just because there's not a ton of information on it, there is a freshman class coming in.
Of course.
So you're going to get and I think it's the number 2 class in the country, number 1 maybe. I think it's 24 guys in the top 100 or like a lot of them in their top 100. Obviously, you're going to lose some of them to the draft.
Yeah.
But like every year you get contributions from freshmen. It's I don't know that there's a Derek Curiel or a Dylan Cruz that you're going to get, but like an Omar Cerna or a Mason Braun, who were big pieces of your lineup this past year, someone is going to come in.
Every year he's been
of course, there's going to be a freshman who comes in and makes a big impact, whether he's an everyday guy or it's a big pinch hit scenario or a reliever, whatever. They're going to have some of the freshmen contribute on next year's roster.
Well, every year he's been here, the freshmen have made an impact.
Of course.
Like every year. I mean, even though in 2023 that was a majority, like an older, mature team. I mean, Jared Jones came in as a freshman and he had double-digit homers that year.
Yeah, he hit 300.
Yeah, I mean, it made an impact. You know what I mean? And then you look at 2024. I mean, Ashton Larson, Stephen Milam, Jake Brown stepped up, made an impact. And then last season, I mean, you don't turn into the team you were if it's not for Derek Curiel stepping up and being your everyday leadoff guy and your everyday left fielder.
And Kason Evans at the pen.
And Kason Evans out of the pen. I mean, that huge. Well, and I would even throw, I mean, obviously Rizzy ends up hitting the portal, but Rizzy was vital, and Cooper Williams were huge. That's why it was so disappointing, the step back that was made and the lack of performance, because they were vital to you winning a national championship. And so you do look at next season, it would be dumb to not anticipate freshmen coming in and making an impact.
Yeah.
Because, and then this season, I mean, Cerna and Braun were two of your best four hitters in SEC play. And it was out of necessity because the guys you brought in to play some of those spots didn't do it. But still, ultimately, those were two guys you circled before the year started, and they ended up being two of your four best bats. Right. So it'll be exciting, 1,000%, and we will see the direction it goes. But I think the first step is the retention, right? Like that's
of course.
That is to-do list. That's number one. Like I said, I mean, if you're able to check that box, it puts you on a fast track to be potentially the favorite to win the national championship, which is crazy to say coming off the season you're coming off of, but I don't know how you don't. And you'll obviously be interested to see who everyone else retains and what other people's rosters look like. But with what LSU has, it'll be huge.
Yeah.
It'll be huge. Mo9, $5 super chat, 5 claps. Ready. 5 for 5 won't pass because the other thing's in it. Assuming all three are gone, C.J. Weinstein is elite shortstop. Jay is going to attack the high school guys. No, 100%. He's going to be huge into getting those guys to not go to the draft and to get to campus, because he's done it kind of every year. He's been able to battle with the draft and get those guys to school. Fawn says, can we pull up the freshman class coming in and look at the positions? We can. I do want to make sure, I think next week, because he's on vacation right now, Jason Armstrong, we're going to get him on to talk, because this is his bread and butter. He loves the draft, the high school talent. Like he came on last year, kind of right after the season ended, and gave a real good rundown in the arms you were getting. And Marcos Paz was one he was extremely high on, and obviously ends up being a big piece of this team. And so we'll make sure to get him in next week as he's on vacation right now, so that he can discuss some of those players. Because this is the interesting piece about baseball that's different than other sports. Like football, so knowledgeable of the recruiting classes and who's coming in and the whole thing. And then baseball is just kind of like you find out about them once they make the decision that they're coming to school and they're not going to the draft.
Well, no one knows the rankings because Perfect Game makes you fucking pay for it. You think I've got $9, dude?
Let's see. I'm going to pull up the recruiting
If you want to see the 2027 class, I have that.
Oh, let's do it. Pop it up there.
Is that is it 2026 or 27 that
27.
we're looking for?
Well, he's looking for 26, so I was looking for it too. But this is all, I think Louisiana might know a thing or two about playing ball and where they want to go to school.
Let's see it. The Louisiana class of 2027, your top 5, or 6 out of your top 7. 6-7.
Nice.
I know what they're doing.
Jordan Griffin's one.
Jordan Griffin, I've been watching play baseball for I feel like a decade.
He's
one.
Because he was a prodigy.
Still is.
He's one. Come on.
But there you go. Cedar Creek, Barb, Hanville, Barb, Sterlington, Mandeville, Alexandria, St. Thomas More, St. Thomas Aquinas, and Hanville.
I really want Jordan Griffin to come here.
Do what?
I'd love to see Jordan.
Oh my
Griffin
God!
play
Are you
LSU.
kidding me? Of course. Let's see if I can pull up.
It seems like a plug and play. He's been playing
It
at
does.
Barb as a.
It's a list and like the percentages that someone.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Just give a shout out to whoever put it out there.
Yeah.
Dude's he's a freaking tank. Look, oh my gosh. And shout out to him, he didn't miss the bag.
The things that I look for is that right there.
Which one?
The athleticism.
The swing? Oh.
No. Like
was a nice
this
win.
is just like he's just a top-notch athlete.
Yeah, no, I mean,
That could have very easily not gone that way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, okay, you don't make
Dude,
a lot of
he's a-
mistakes doing anything.
No,
So-
you gotta get that young man to campus.
So I did find a post. It's on the On3 message board. Shout out Tigers14. Maybe you're in the chat.
2 claps. Ready.
Did a breakdown, not a breakdown, but kind of listed out the entire recruiting class, and then basically his personal opinion on if he thinks they come to LSU or the draft. So it's not inside information, I guess. But Logan Schmidt, left-handed pitcher, draft. Jensen Hirschkorn, right-handed pitcher, draft. Malachi Washington, 70-30 draft. I've heard a lot about him.
Malachi
I've seen a
Washington.
lot of his highlights
What
on
is
Twitter.
his position?
He's an outfielder. I believe he's a
Outfielder?
center fielder.
Center fielder, okay.
Nate Davis, outfielder, 70-30 draft. Anthony Murphy, outfielder, 70-30 LSU. Dominic Santorelli, first baseman / outfielder,
I remember
80-20
Santorelli.
draft.
I remember when he committed because
Yes.
the name is elite.
Right, of course.
What was his
He's
percentages?
playing on Team Italy.
Yeah.
80-20 draft.
Ah.
Lucas
I want a
Naraki,
Santorelli jersey.
65-35 draft. Cooper
Okay.
Sides, 85-15 draft. Dylan Blomker, right-handed pitcher, 50-50. Parker Lowe, who I've seen a lot about on Twitter, second baseman, 60-40 LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Will Adams, first baseman, outfielder. Well, that's a crazy way to put it. He put it 50-50 LSU. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't
Nice.
think that's
I
how
like
that
that.
works. Jordan
Okay,
Martinez.
51-49 we'll say.
Yeah, Jordan Martinez, shortstop, 70-30 LSU. Braxton Beatty, left-handed pitcher, 90-10 LSU. Spencer Evans, left-handed pitcher, 60-40 LSU. CJ Weinstein, utility, 90-10 LSU. Wesley Roberson, utility, 50-50. Colton Brady, right-handed pitcher, hard to read, should make it to school. Dylan Minute, first base, LSU. Colby Stringer, who he just committed recently, 70-30 LSU. Colton Chrisman, left-handed pitcher, LSU.
Another Stringer.
Luke Tucker, third baseman, LSU, huge sleeper. Braden Cupid, left-handed pitcher, LSU. Braden Wisner, right-handed pitcher, LSU, sleeper.
There we go. I want Santorelli to campus.
I would love a
That is-
Santorelli.
That is such a good name.
Yeah,
Dominic
100%.
I
Santorelli.
didn't know he played running back too.
Is this Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
Lord have. Well, of
Oh, he
course he
plays
played running back.
football?
Look at him.
I didn't know if they would let him.
Is he not a football recruit too?
He scored 6 touchdowns.
I mean, he's a freaking tank.
He had 5'8", like 210.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, like,
Davion Thomas.
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah. Now he is a.
I'm
And
sure.
and I mean, it's not like Barb's like a small, like they're a 5A school.
5A school.
This is 5A
He's
baseball.
been
They're
starting to
playing.
get Barb since he was in 8th grade.
he's a monster.
Neither a baseball.
And
factory.
so when we made it to, we were headed to Lake Charles for the state championships or the semifinals. We stopped and practiced at Barb, and somebody was like, when we were walking through the
Oh no! Can we?
the
get off
back of
football
the
field?
school to get into the gym, there was the
Looks like he has to come to school.
there was the softball field. And I mean, one of the players that hadn't played baseball was like, "Is that the baseball field?" I was like, "No, that's across the street, and it's not a baseball field; it's a complex."
Yeah.
But
Because
Barb?
Barb is a baseball factory.
It's impressive.
It
Yeah.
is
Fucking Caccini.
It's unbelievable. It is an absolute.
It's really out of nowhere too, because I mean, I don't think Lake Charles and think baseball. I guess I do because of Barb, but I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't expect Barb to be like some baseball powerhouse. The Lake Charles school to be a baseball powerhouse. I guess they play it.
They are an absolute power.
They're unbelievable. Shout out Trey Quinn.
Chris Christie hater is 5 and 5A is the biggest. Yes, 5A is the biggest in Louisiana.
So let me pose this question to the room. Let's say Jake Brown and Stephen Milam and Derek Curiel all go to the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume there's a sizable chunk of NIL money that that Jay has set aside for. Let's just say Brown and Milam, because it seems like Curiel's gone.
Yeah.
Where do you prioritize putting that money? Do you prioritize it on going into the portal and getting some big-time guys, even though it kind of just failed for you last year? Do you prioritize maybe trying to keep together some of this freshman class, maybe steal one from the draft that should have gone to the draft that can maybe make it to campus?
Maybe you go fishing in the minor leagues.
I know you like fishing in the minor leagues.
All right.
Look, Tucker like that joke.
This is not true. Hey, Tucker, come here, Tucker.
Oh, bro, you said Chris like fishing in the minor leagues?
Guess what? Tucker's also a minor, so be careful how you pet him. He is. That's a good boy. Yeah, buddy. So I would say, I think one position for sure I want to go in the portal to go get is shortstop. Like I think like if you lose Milam, you want to go check that box. Not that I don't think Ruckert can do it or what, but I do think you spend the most. Like I do think you do want to improve your pitching staff,
Of course.
and like that's going to be the main goal portal wise. Regardless of who you bring back, you're going to look at pitching. But I would say shortstop, and then I would say you battle with the draft because you did list off a good number of outfielders there. If some of those freshmen can come in and play in the outfield next to a Harden, a Patrick, or if you can bring a couple of them in, I think that's kind of where the mindset is.
Yeah.
But God, it's just like I understand the thinking process. You got to go all in on getting those two to campus. Like if you get not to campus to stay on campus. If you can get Milam and Brown to stay here, those two guys. It's the heartbeat of your team. Like that is your ticket to the national championship, like to being national champions. Like that's just it. Like, and I don't want to like over dramatize it, but that's how good they are and that's how vital they are and the experience it would be. And they just fill holes. Like then you don't have to have that line of thinking. Like that's
right,
like
exactly.
That's why I appreciate the question because it just gets my brain back to if you're able to retain those guys, I don't even have to think about that. Exactly. It makes it so much easier. It is 2024 Ohio State rather than
it's getting Nuss back.
See that it's funny because that was I would rather be 2024 Ohio State than 2025 LSU, who is 2024 Ohio State. Well, yeah, obviously, but just I'm saying even before the games are played, the off season, the way it's structured, I would rather fill a couple of spots around the bulk of your team being back rather than getting one piece back and filling the whole roster around that. It was two sides of the coin. For Ohio State, they felt like they had everything except quarterback, running back, safety, so they went and got that. LSU felt like they had quarterback and that's it, so they went and spent everywhere, and it just didn't work.
Right.
And so when looking at it, you got to keep those two guys in Baton Rouge.
Be massive.
Here he
So
is,
to
the
simplify
man.
it, it will be like the most important conversations I need to have are with these guys that are in the dugout. That'll start. Then there will be an element of, obviously meeting with my staff and making sure they are all buttoned up with the next steps of getting us, what I would call back on track, at the level I want to. Forget LSU, like what I want my baseball program to look like. And then, then there's a recruiting element that, the portal obviously, but then the draft too. We got hurt really badly in the draft this year. We've had 34 players sign pro contracts in the last 3 years. That's an entire roster. It was going to catch up at some point. We had 9 juniors sign a pro contract off of last year's national championship team. Okay, that you don't just replace that. We did. We tried. We tried. We didn't. We just didn't do it. So that part, is coming up. So there's so many elements to this thing. And win the day in front of us. I won't be watching much of the NCAA tournament, I can tell you that. I live for the College World Series, live for being in Omaha. So, frankly, we have, too much to do, but if I'm being honest, it'd be too hard to watch that.
Win the day in front of you, and the day in front of you is keeping those two guys at LSU. Stephen Milam, Jake Brown, please come back. Please stay at LSU. Please.
Look at this.
So we can book the hotels.
We will book. I will book the hotels. What is this, Barb? Look at that film.
Oh yeah, you just know. Look at that,
dude. It is beyond impressive.
Pochi, take notes on that.
This is their fucking clubhouse.
Yeah, no. That's what I was telling the players. Like, no. They don't have a baseball field. It is a complex.
Look at what the fuck.
Whoa.
It is better than a lot of Division I baseball.
Yeah. No, this is elite.
Yeah, you were spoiled.
This is a Power 4 college program,
right?
Like not just from like the talent,
what else
but
can you get,
dude?
This is better than like a Missouri.
And the unis are great. Like it is.
They have their own batting gloves.
Like look at the
uniforms.
They offered me a scholarship.
They are sweet.
I didn't go. They offered me it was like 5 million, 13 million.
Funny you say that.
I turned it down.
I didn't go. I turned it down. I turned it down. I just wanted to be in the streets.
That place is
out Lake Charles.
Absolute factory.
I turned it down.
It is beyond impressive. I'm trying to remember. I felt like when Central won the state championship, I feel like they beat Barb on the way there. I don't remember.
If you're going to win the state champ, you're probably going to have to beat Barb.
Probably.
Yeah.
Let's see.
At
I'm going to
some
try to pull it
point.
up. Because Central went back-to-back. Shout out to Mikhail Hilliard because that was the first one. And then they pulled off. Shout out to head coach Mike Forbes, who's now the head coach of the Baton Rouge Rougarou, who are about to get started. I think because, hey, Baton Rouge, baseball is not over in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, let's look
overall.
at the menu.
I'm pulling up some dates here for the Rougarou. So the players are reporting tomorrow, and then they will move in with their host families. Their practice will be
it's coming up.
They'll practice this weekend, and then they will have their press conference and introductions on June 2nd, and then the season opener will be 7 p.m. that evening at Acadian on the road
Players are
in
doing press
Youngsville.
conferences?
They're going to do a press conference.
Oh, hell yeah.
Press conference and introductions of the 2026 team at 11:30 a.m. on June 2nd, and then they will play 7 p.m. that evening as they're on the road. I don't think their first game at home is until June 5th, maybe.
Oh, I'm looking at just
Yeah,
games,
Central did beat Barb. I thought so.
Okay,
My
so
sophomore year, they
June
did beat Barb.
2nd?
Barb and Sulphur.
in Youngsville.
Yep.
We should go to the home opener. Some
what do you have?
fireworks.
Will you get that from Tucker, Chrissy? Get that out of his mouth. Mo9, $5 super chat, 5 claps. Ready. Elite Mercer shortstop, Titan Kamaka, is in the portal. He hit 400 this year, becomes a top portal player immediately. Now, look at it.
What a name.
That is a great name.
Yeah.
Titan.
Titan Kamaka.
Titan. That's going to be an interesting discussion because there's going to be a lot of LSU fans and maybe even coaches on the staff who are a little wary of going and getting smaller school players after kind of what happened this season. But I mean, look, it hasn't. It's not like it hasn't worked out before. Paul Skeens came from Air Force. Daniel Dickinson from some Utah school. I don't even know what it was. Anthony Ionson's from UC San Diego, I believe. So
right.
that's going to be an interesting
It'll be very
thought
interesting.
process for the coaching staff.
It's going to be fun. I mean, look, as much as it sucks that you're not playing baseball in the postseason, it will be an exciting offseason just seeing how this all plays out.
Titan Kamaka
really like
was a senior.
Ah,
But I guess
They do like their West
5
Coast
for 5.
transfers, don't they?
who, Jay Johnson?
Yeah.
No, he's a West Coast guy. He
Yeah.
doesn't just like West Coast transfers. I mean, he recruits West Coast
Well,
guys.
West Coast guys are really good at
They're
baseball.
good at baseball.
Yeah.
too. Like, California is a baseball powerhouse.
Yeah.
well, and you have to think about all of the relationships he has over there. He
course.
spent
Of
course.
his entire life.
That's who he is.
outside
He's a
of
West
the
Coast
country.
guy.
Yeah, so it's, I mean,
Orange
he didn't-
Lutheran High
He
School.
didn't just happen to see Stephen Milam play when he was 12.
Right.
He's like, hey, go check this kid out.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And
And
it's
guess
like,
what?
okay, yeah, some coach told me to, like, I have a player here.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'll go watch. The same thing with
Zach York.
Paul Skeens is how he got, like, literally the coach called him and told him, like, he's going to go in the portal, so you have to get him.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, oh, thank you for the heads up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is kind of the
Made it
perfect
happen.
amalgamation of a recruiter because you're down in the South in Louisiana. You're right next to Texas. So
Right.
you're going to be able to recruit with Texas regardless.
And that's
Florida's right there, too. You're always going to be able to recruit Florida. And then you've got West Coast ties. It's like, and you're the biggest national brand in college baseball.
Yeah.
It's college baseball globalization.
It really is perfect, isn't it?
It's perfect.
And he said this was the first year that they really felt like they've had an impact in Florida. He was
Yeah.
like, I've been so
Corey Raymond, shout out.
I've been so much going this side of the country, and then he got into they hit Texas the last 2 years. He's like, it's time to start working Florida, and I think we did a good job of that this year. So
Yeah. I mean, you look at the 2023
pretty
Natty
fun.
team. Dylan Cruz, Florida. Tommy White, Florida. Paul Skeens, California. I'm sure there was a Texas guy in there that I'm forgetting. I think Chase Shores. Chase Shores from Texas?
Yeah, but he didn't. He was hurt.
A lot of
But he was on the team.
Louisiana
Tommy
guys.
Johns,
on
he
that
was.
team.
He was
He
the
was.
third
He was
starter
from
until he
Texas.
got hurt.
Where was Dugas from Homa now?
No,
Yeah,
he's
he's
from
from
Louisiana.
Louisiana. You had a lot of Louisiana guys. on
Well,
that
of course,
team.
yeah, you're always going to have that.
Well, I was going to make the joke that because you have a Lafayette guy or a Lake Charles guy on the team, that's Texas.
Yeah, you really landed that plane.
Yeah, I tried.
Yep. But those were Paul's guys, okay?
Paul.
It's like I punched you in the stomach.
Yeah.
Rage bait.
Let's go 13 for 13. Haven't done it in such a
We
long
never
time.
go 13 for
Because we
13
just-
anymore.
Getting busy.
I hope Jason's okay. I feel like he would have.
I know.
I'm
He's
kind of
going-
worried about him.
He
Like,
is growing.
he might be holed up in his office.
Tucker, stay away from him. Don't go over
It's
there.
really hard to win without some of the guys that I brought in. Dylan Cruz just doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, so when he does it, it's okay. When I do it, it's a problem.
What did I do?
What we got here? Tucker, quit looking at that. Quit.
Tucker, you like bum energy?
Tucker, stop. Hey.
He's hungry.
Tucker. Yeah, he doesn't need that.
He's hungry.
Freaking caffeine.
Tucker, you like bum energy?
Bouncing off the walls.
Vegas, Austin, surname Broad. Ooh. U.S. Host cities, maybe.
There we go. Team name and surname.
Yes.
Yes, the jersey.
It's all about the jersey, Mike.
This is a soccer day, I think. So Carolina, Mexico City, Austin, Vegas, maybe. World Cup host cities.
No, you're an idiot.
Nope.
Let's
Podcast,
see.
broadcast.
Yeah, Statcast.
Statcast, sportscast.
Mm-hmm. Bang.
Purple.
Montreal, Monza, Mexico City, Madrid.
You have lost your ability to
Your
play.
privileges.
What's Monza?
Tucker.
I don't know what Monza is.
I'm trying to think.
Is it as simple as the M's? There's no way.
I just said that.
Hey, shut your mouth.
I'm 1 for 3 so far.
You're an idiot.
It's gonna hit.
I don't think it is.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's NHL. Good job, Lloyd. You would know you're a hockey guy.
What the hell is Monza?
Tucker, what you doing, buddy?
Oh.
Getting that towel? Oh, you're getting comfy.
Well, don't get
that
too
was
comfortable.
precious.
That was cute.
God's
that was
precious.
cute.
It was. He just made his own
You're
bed.
calling a
and then laid
minor
on it.
cute, Wyatt?
It's a dog, you fucking
That's what I
dumbass.
said.
Oh.
Yeah, it's different white, so
Gosh,
that we
I hate
respect
you.
him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Look at you cheating over there.
I'm not cheating. I can't see it, so I pull it up on my laptop and I'm looking.
Fucking
Olivia Rodrigo.
Clavicular.
No.
Is it
Justin
the dude
Bieber?
who played Elvis? What's his name?
Nate Elordi or Jacob Elordi?
No. That's the guy from Euphoria.
Yeah, he played Elvis
When?
in Priscilla.
Is anybody keeping up
No,
with
I'm
that
talking
show?
about in the Elvis movie
Euphoria?
they did a couple years ago.
Austin Butler?
Yeah, him. The one he was like, I
know.
can't stop
He has
talking
blonde
like
hair,
Elvis. Yeah, that is well.
So it is Olivia Rodrigo for sure.
It's definitely Olivia Rodrigo.
I'd recognize that neck anywhere.
That's not her neck.
You and Chrissy just always thinking about neck.
See the
Giving neck.
the funny thing was I also thought James Marsden for a second, who
Who is
plays
James
in
Marsden?
oh that is Tom Cruise. Yeah, that's obvious. That is Tom. That's definitely Tom Cruise's neck. It's got baby's blood in there.
Oh,
Cage like your clavicular comment, Lloyd.
clavicular.
I mean,
He's off
that
testosterone.
was-
He looks
that was
fucking,
funny.
He looks scrawny.
What NFL team has had the fewest 10-loss seasons? 10-loss seasons.
That's interesting.
God, I mean, what? The
I think
Patriots?
is it the Saints?
I was kind of thinking that.
Is it the Saints? The Saints?
I guess
Because
it
their
could be
bad
they never-
years, they were like 7 and 9.
Or the Steelers, they never have 10
Oh.
losses. They're 8-8 every year.
I actually do think
It's the
yeah,
Steelers,
because
yeah.
Tomlin, like I don't know that they've had one 10-loss season.
The Saints are a good guess, but I do think it's the Steelers. 'Cause
Yeah.
They're 500 every year or better.
What about the Browns?
That's why I like Mike Tomlin.
You better fucking no, you idiot.
Yeah, I was about to
Nice. Look at
crash out.
us.
Was the Steelers? Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Oh, is this
DeMar
DeMar
DeRozan.
DeRozan? Great trade.
It was a good decision by the Raptors.
Yeah, got him a chip.
Well, what got them a chip was LeBron going to the Lakers. They still lose to the Cavs if he stays. Chanho Park. Couldn't tell you.
Lloyd? Maybe. You think Poge would know this?
He probably would. Poach got a job on us.
Who's got a what?
Is this the Red Sox?
Did he really? Shout out.
Yeah, he's field crewing.
Yeah, but he's had
Rangers.
that job.
Rangers.
The Rangers.
Good call. Hunter Hall
Bucks.
and Johnny L.
Oh, is this? Oh, wait, don't say it. I know it. It's Kathy Bates and Oh fuck, what's it called?
Wait.
It's
A rider gets into a car crash and is wrecked by...
It's Kathy Bates is the self-proclaimed #1 fan who holds him hostage. The actor for the guy is, I don't know his name, but it's Buddy the Elf's dad. It's Walter Hobbs.
Walter Hobbs.
But I don't know his real name. Those are the two actors. Oh, what's it fucking called?
I've never seen this.
Shout out our sophomore year English teacher, Roy Hobbs, from The Natural.
Oh, no, I know this. It's
surprised
one
you know
word.
that.
It's one word. It's a one-word movie. It's
Misery.
It's like, yeah, it is Misery, yeah.
I read the book. Just waiting for you to get through it.
Oh, you knew that and didn't say it the whole
No,
time?
Johnny L put it in there. Oh.
Penn State East Coast Subs were founded and is headquartered in this fully Eastern time zone state.
Surprised it's not Penn State
Jersey
East Coast
Mikes.
Doms.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Is
Love a
it,
good
is
East
it
Coast
Pennsylvania?
Fully Eastern
But
time zone
I don't think Pennsylvania touches. Well, I guess it's not.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's a city, right, Wyatt?
Yeah, Pennsylvania is a city.
Right, Chrissy?
Ah.
I don't think it's gonna it seems like it'd be too easy to be Pennsylvania. I have no idea.
Johnny L
Said Ohio.
got our backs.
Ohio? Wow. I don't even know who this is.
I've never even heard of Penn State East Coast Subs.
I was just giving it a look.
I thought it was just like a sandwich shop for a second. I don't even know who this lady is.
Penn Station East Coast Subs. Well, that makes more sense. I mean, the sandwiches don't look bad.
There it was.
Nope.
Bless you.
It was getting
brewing?
mhm.
Yeah. Felicity Huffman won Best Actress for this ABC dramedy in 2005. God, I wish I could see her face and I could know what she's in. I know that name. I just don't recognize her face. I'm not putting a face to that name. What do you know about Felicity, Christian?
Sounds like a stripper.
Felicity.
Is that what you're gonna name your daughter?
Nope.
Would it be wrong if I just look up what she looks like?
I looked up what she looks like. It didn't
didn't know
help
who
me
she
at
was
all.
either.
Even if it did help, I wouldn't have said anything if it did. I just
Felicity Shagwell.
Nice.
Oh, Shagwell.
Oh, Shagwell. Is that Austin Powers?
Oh, she's married to the dude from
Shameless.
Shameless.
She was in
Yeah,
that
I
one
did see that
ABC
picture.
TV show, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
that dramedy on ABC.
Yeah.
The one that she won the Emmy for.
2005?
Best Actress. Yeah, I think it was
Oh,
like
wow.
05, 06 maybe.
Oh, Desperate Housewives.
Yeah,
I do not remember
that's
her
it.
in
That's
that.
the one.
Oh yeah, Chrissy.
What a
Wow.
show.
Oh, do you like that?
Desperate Woman.
No, but
played
I
a
mean, it
fix-
did fucking rule the roost there for
Umar
about
Rocco.
8 years.
Who played a fictional version of themselves in major sport? Oh, this is a great film. Who played a fictional version of themselves? Don't ever do
This
that
dude
again.
fucking weird, bro. I'm not fucking with him no more.
Yeah, lay down.
Lay
Good
down
boy.
in the middle, son. Y'all ready to be done with the show?
George W. Bush.
Nice.
I don't remember. I can't remember a person in this.
Oh.
It was Neil Patrick.
I was about to
Harris.
say- I was-
Yes.
I just thought of the car.
Yeah, the car scene. That the Harold and Kumar movies were
Unbelievable.
elite.
Oh, this is is it Khalid?
Yeah,
or Khalid?
Khalid.
Location is Playboy Cardi.
Khalid.
Send me your
Tell me where your love lies. I know all those songs.
Nice.
Good
Thank you,
songs. Those are
Johnny
good
L.
songs.
Good
Johnny
job,
L, good
boys.
work.
We all contributed there.
2 claps for Tucker. Ready.
Good boy. Come see. Come here. Come here.
Every dog I've ever owned has died.
Come here, Tucker.
Goodbye, Tucker. Enjoy your remaining years.
chillin'. I had a long talk with God, and I told him it's just different.